I'm back again with the PokeFlipz podcast, joined by my usual co-host, Catch 'em All Collectibles, Dan. How we doing today, Dan?
Doing very well. How are you?
I'm doing well. Excited for another episode here.
It does look like the premiere funneling us in worked properly. So yeah, welcome. We did have quite a few viewers there at the end of the premiere. Thanks everyone for joining in. As you guys know, we're live for the next 3 hours, little over 3 hours. Feel free to leave your questions. There's currently no queue. There's no backlog. We've got those quick turnaround times, but at peak, at peak, we usually end up an hour behind. So be sure to get them in early and often. Anything to cover while we're, I guess our special guest, if you want to announce that for 2 weeks, approximately 2 weeks from today, we might have to move the day. I think we might just move the time to the evening slot.
Yeah. I think we're going to. I think we said 8:30. I forget exactly, but 2 weeks from today, we're going to be having a special guest joining us. We got Nick Gem Mint Collectors joining us. Really good guy. Super interesting. So I met him. He's at a bunch of the Collecticons. So I think I first met him there, and so it'll be interesting to talk to him. Really looking forward to that. Don't get too much of a chance to really talk to him in face to face too much, because we're always busy at the Collecticons. So it'll be really fun to talk to him. So definitely looking forward to that one. And like I said, that'll be 8:30ish 2 weeks from now, probably on Thursday, but we'll schedule it out. You guys get some advance notice there.
Yeah, I believe he said the 15th was free, so it should be Thursday, June 15th at 8:30 p.m. Eastern. But yeah, stay tuned. We'll definitely push out some Instagram posts, and we'll schedule it at least several hours ahead, earlier that day on YouTube. So looking forward to that one. Like you said, I met him at a Collecticon. I don't remember which. I've talked to him a handful of times now. Real cool guy. Looking forward to someone less like as deep into the bubble, right? Like a lot of times we've had people from our live chat. Everyone knows Mr. Walrus. Everyone knows. Like I'm sure a lot of people know the name, but somebody that's not so active in chat all the time. So it'll be a nice, fresh little twist, I guess.
Yeah, definitely.
Mason Camp says, is there going to be an OSRS PokeFlipz live stream duo TOA? Nick does not know what that means. I know what that means, and I can guarantee you there will not be. But maybe someday once I learn it, then we can carry Nick through there. But yeah, I don't even know how to do it. So
yeah, I've never played RuneScape in my life, so you would have to start me off at square one and teach me everything.
Garrett says the transition worked well for him. It seems like it worked for most people. Unit says it did not transition. Maybe you don't have autoplay on. Maybe some kind of a weird interaction with that. I don't know, but I did turn off like ads. I turned off ads on the premiere, so that hopefully people wouldn't get stuck in the middle of an ad during the transition or anything. I think I had it set up so it worked for most people. So,
why would you turn off ads? We're not going to make anything off of this.
I turned off the mid-roll and the post-roll on the premiere. I left on the pre-ones. I left on like the overlay, whatever. I just turned off some specific ones that I thought might interrupt the transition. But I have no idea how that works. So maybe I was just taking our pennies and nickels away for no reason.
I wonder if you can you actually play ads during a premiere? I wonder, because that would throw off the timing because like some people have YouTube Premium,
yeah,
and other people don't. So I wonder
that's what I was always. I always do premieres without ads because I'm always not sure what would happen with that. I think they would just miss a chunk because I actually James ZNG Emporium. He's joked about doing an ad mid-live from time to time. I actually went and did it, though. Like, partially for the memes, partially because I just had to go to the bathroom, and it's like, are you going to stare at my empty wall? Or you might as well, like, watch an ad and make me a little money, right? But what happened was premium users got no ad, so they just saw my wall. Non-premium users got an ad, so they got whatever ad the almighty YouTube algorithm fed to them. So I would think, given that information in the middle of a premiere, I think they would just like lose a 30-second chunk, and then they'd have to either rewind and go to 1.5x, or they'd have to, I don't know. But at the end of the day, we don't have to stress about it because I pulled the ads.
Good.
My name is Cade asks, how do I get my hat in the ring for the next eBay review? When Nick and I went to find the comments of people's usernames, we couldn't even remember where we had asked people to leave them. I don't even remember still where they were left ultimately. Do you remember, Nick?
It was in the live, not our most recent live, but the one before that.
So should they leave it in this live or should they leave it in the next live? I don't remember.
I say this one since we just did the first one.
Okay,
I say leave usernames in the comment section of this live after it ends.
That'll work because we're saying it 7 minutes in, so more people should hear this than if we say it 2-3 hours deep. So yeah, if you want your eBay, if you want a chance at having your eBay critiqued / roasted / getting some kind of feedback on it, feel free to leave it in the comments, not in the live chat comments. Leave it in the comments after this video gets posted as like an actual video. And then we'll all we did was a random number generator. And speaking of random, go ahead.
We had five people leave their eBay usernames in the last one, and we just picked a number 1 through 5. So that worked out well.
Yeah, and speaking of random number generator, we will do that sometime today. I guess if we can do it at any point, but we're literally just gonna roll 1 through 5. There's 5 sections. We're gonna roll like 3 through 5 initially, because Mason and Nick both have a half section, so they only have 5 tables to divvy up. Whereas Ray, Chris, and myself, we have 7 to 8 tables to roll for each section. So yeah, we'll do that in a little while. I'll show my Google Drive. I'll show the sheet live on screen, and I'll show the random number generator. I figure that's a good way. Like, most people know most people, I think, but some people might not have met anyone yet. I think it's just a good way to mix up everybody and get people meeting new faces and whatever. I don't know. Hopefully we're all fairly close at the end of the day, but even if our 5 sections get spread out, we did our best. I guess we should actually say, we've talked about it in Discord, but tables are officially sold out for Charlotte. That is, they went live yesterday. They're sold out today. The 5 section leads, Chris, Ray, Mason, Nick, and myself, we all did get like confirmations of our payments going through and our bookings being made. So yeah, 5 sections, and we currently have 45 tables of interest. So there are like 5 tables available technically, but I would think, and I would think and I hope they'll go between now and Charlotte, because usually there are some people FOMOing last minute.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I was surprised. Kind of surprised. Tables sold out as quickly as they did for Charlotte. Long Beach, they sold out really quickly, but I didn't think Charlotte would be the same. But apparently it was.
Yeah, very very bullish on Collecticon. I think I'm probably going to say this incorrectly, but Fjeldern, I'm assuming you just don't pronounce the, or is it just Feldern? You just pretend like the J isn't there. He wants to know how the Norwegian milk chocolate. I talked to him a bunch too, and I just don't know how to pronounce that exactly. And I don't know if he wants his first name shared, so I'm going to go with that.
Yeah, so for those who don't know, he sent me a package for consignment, and he included a chocolate bar in his package, which was very much appreciated. I definitely have a sweet tooth, unlike Dan over there, so that was definitely appreciated. And as far as the comparison to American chocolate, European chocolate is way better than American. Obviously, you have your like more fancy American chocolate bars and stuff like that, but compared to like a Hershey bar or even like Ghirardelli or any of those like big names, European is definitely way better. Even like they're like Cadbury chocolate bars, they have those here in the US, and then they also have them over in Europe, and you would think they would taste the same, but the ones over in Europe taste way better than the ones over here. So it was definitely much better than the chocolate that we can get over here. That's one thing I do miss about working on the ship is whenever we would stop off in Europe, I would always go to a store and load up on chocolate, because it is definitely better over there. I don't know why. Maybe because they don't use like all the junk that we use over here, and it's more natural, I guess. I don't know, but it does taste way better.
Dennis Wolf is agreeing European chocolate is definitely better. Mom's from Belgium, so he's spoiled.
Ooh, there we go.
In retro says my sugar is beer. My sugar is hops. Though I do drink sodas, which we were talking. I guess we can briefly cover the Hooks at New Hampshire Let's Play Games and Collectibles. We did go this past weekend to a little bit of a trade show on Saturday. It wasn't a huge one. I mean, when you go from talking Collecticon to talking this was in the confines of a local game store. Pretty small one, but it was nice. Really gracious host to have us there, not charge us anything. It was a really awesome, cool setup. As far as sales go, though, I just brought a little bit of inventory. I still haven't unpacked it. I have it next to me, but I have my my Slab case XL or whatever. I had inventory priced from Dallas that didn't sell there. So, one, it didn't sell in Dallas for the price I had listed. Two, it was priced like for Collecticon. It was higher end inventory. So to bring that into a small little local game store in New Hampshire, I literally didn't sell one thing. I made one trade for a Moonbryon. So I'm now the proud owner of 2 Moonbryon PSA 10s. But other than that, good time hanging out with good people. Business wise, sales wise, not much. What about you?
Yeah, no, it was great to see you. Great to see Jake and Dan and everyone, the other Dan TCG, and then everyone else who came out to the trade night. Really good to see everyone. Sales wise, I was the same way. I had maybe like 3 sales and 1 trade for a couple $100. So definitely a big step down from the last 2. And I wish we had thought about this more in advance, because obviously we did it over Memorial Day weekend, which at the time we planned the event, we really didn't consider that. And the turnout for this one was very, very low compared to the first one that we did, and then especially the second one that we did. We had a really good turnout, which was awesome. So I think we all had our hopes up for that type of turnout again, which definitely wasn't the case for this one. But it's always fun being able to get together and hang out with everyone. Take a day off from staring at eBay all day. So I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, it was a good time. And Bondo's in chat. He said Nick made a pretty sweet trade deal with me. Got to see Bondo too.
Oh, yes. That was a good trade. I traded some. So Dallas, I bought some like the Poncho EVs, CGC graded, and then I brought those up to the trade night, and I traded a few of those to someone for a PSA 10 tag team Sylveon and Gardevoir, I think. I forget now. I think that's what it was. So I did that trade. And then I traded with Pokebondo for that. He took that PSA 10, gave me a raw copy of that card, which is borderline 910. I'm gonna submit it into PSA and see. So I'll definitely keep you posted on that, Pokebondo. And then there was one of the gold cards from Crown Zenith as well in that trade, plus a little bit of cash. So that worked out well. Nice little revolving inventory. I like it.
Yep, got to keep mixing things up. But yeah, middle of a holiday weekend, and the weather was beautiful. So it was not like overly surprising that the turnout was a little bit less than the prior one. But as with anything else, you take in the information and you adapt and you move on, and you just think about that next time you're scheduling. But either way, those that went had a good time, and figured we'd do a little recap of that. M. Redden or Mr. Eden 810. I would love to hear your guys' thoughts on Chinese product with tag team alt arts climbing in price. Do you see opportunity in the Chinese counterparts? Some of those boxes have very pricey trainers. I do more and more each passing month in Japanese. I've not really strayed into Chinese. I did pick up some amount of those 001 SVPs. I guess a little bit of Chinese stuff here and there, but I just know so little about how much is out there, and I don't have anything really to add of much substance on this. To you?
Yeah, Chinese product. I don't know if I would get into that much myself. I've never liked I haven't done much with Chinese stuff in a while, but I know like the 25th anniversary, they had some really nice boxes for Chinese boxes for the 25th anniversary. But so like the presentation looked really nice, but like the card quality, it just like feels flimsy to me. I don't like the card quality of Chinese stuff. But Japanese for sure. Japanese is definitely taking off, and I think a portion of that definitely has to do with the Chinese buyers starting to enter the market. But as far as like Chinese product goes, I don't know about that. I personally don't like it, so I'm gonna stay away from it. But there could be some opportunity there.
Yeah, it's just to throw in like this wild card that I talked about before. One of the best performing items I've ever bought and like gained value in without any intent to do so. Korean Evolutions, Korean CP6. I sold those boxes for so much money after they were so cheap. I bought a handful just to open them cheap and have a little fun with it. I set back like one of each box and forgot about them. I lost them. And then when I turned them up, so I'm not saying like this stay away, it can't do anything. Who freaking knows? That's basically what I'm saying. I'm saying I have no idea. It could end up panning out. It could be crazy like Korean Evolutions was. But I would just be completely guessing if I were to try. And yeah, I mean, if China's getting in, it would. There's some logic there. There's some logic to follow, right? Japanese makes sense because it's the original. It's like the true first edition, as a lot of people like to say. English, it's just the one of the biggest markets in the world, one of the biggest economies in the world. It is just like the universal language in that country, the United States. So English makes sense. Chinese, I mean, the biggest population-wise in the world. There's a lot of things that could make it make sense, but going back to not knowing the print run numbers and whether or not people will actually care for that, it's just all speculation. So I'm not personally like doing anything in Chinese, really. DC Republic says, I can't stop looking at the PSA tracker. Should I order a Domino's to get my quick fix? I would say yes, personally. Domino's, I mean, as far as pizza goes, it's not great, but it's still pizza and it's passable. So like, if you're rating it on a pizza scale 1 to 10, it's low. It's like a 3. If you're rating it on a food scale 1 to 10, just because pizza's so good, it's like a 6. It's a 7. It's in there. So yeah, get some Domino's for dinner. Watch the tracker. They even tell you, one thing I like about Domino's, they tell you who is making your pizza. I believe them more because they tell you the name. It's like Timmy just put your pizza in the oven, and that just makes it feel more real. If PSA would tell me Timmy was grading my cards, then I would believe it. But until then, I won't believe it ever. So don't look at trackers.
I think you've started drinking a little too early there, Dan. You got your drunk
It's just
goggles
Coke
on tonight.
There's no rum in here, I swear.
saying Domino's is decent pizza. Absolutely.
Passable.
I will take like the 7-Eleven pizza over Domino's.
Oh, it's not that bad. I don't even
I
know if I've
am
ever
not
had
a
7-Eleven
fan of
pizza.
Domino's whatsoever. Nope.
Chaotic Rudd says, what are your thoughts on the Star Wars Unlimited TCG that was just announced? I've never watched the movies. I'll let Nick go. And I hadn't heard of this either.
Oh, thanks. Yeah, what was the Star Wars TCGs that just have been announced? I have not done anything with Star Wars cards. I used someone. We had a big collection when my dad used to have a. We had a big collection come in of it was the 1996 top Star Wars finest cards. And prior to that, I had never even heard of those cards before. Never knew they were a thing. But I actually really liked the look of those cards, and the booster boxes for that set looked really cool. So I got into that a little bit. I held on to one set and I held on to one box. But aside from that, I've really never done anything with the newer top Star Wars stuff. I think it would be cool to open a box and check it out. But yeah, I've never done anything with Star Wars cards, and I didn't even know there was a Star Wars TV coming out. That would be interesting. I would be intrigued by that one because I definitely like Star Wars. Love the movies.
Well, Squeaks chimed in to say, y'all need Jesus, Domino's is good. See,
Squeaks, I'm gonna block you for that comment. You can't be lying in our chat.
I love pizza so much that like Domino's, Papa John's, Little Caesars, those are all like good food, fine food. But again, on a pizza scale, they're low. Cause like I have a lot of, when you came actually, we went and got wings. I think when Jake came, we went and got pizza. But yeah, there's like a couple local spots. No one would know the names, but like everyone's got those local spots around you. I mean, so many of them around here. But those would be my top 90th percentiles are all filled with just like local mom and pop shops from around. Bondo wants to know if we hit big at Encore the other night. We left a little money there. I lost more money at Encore than I made at the trade show, but I already told you that I made nothing at the trade show, so.
Yeah, I did not fare so well. I was a little bit at the very beginning. I should have just stopped then and not continued for the rest of the night.
Gotta just stop before you walk in the door. They don't build those places off letting people take money out of there.
It does look like Encore's in rough shape. They could have used our money. They looked like they were struggling.
Ray says fast food pizza versus mom and pop is like vintage versus modern. Just stop comparing it. Basically, they're two different things. Don't compare the two. I tend to agree. I like that comparison.
Well, I would disagree on that one because there's some good like Papagino's. That I would say that's like a chain pizza place, and they have really good pizza.
I think chain would be, and now we're going to get into the nuances of pizza discussions. We're going to be really out in the weeds here, but I would say chain is different from fast food versus because I guess a lot of the chains though are like semi-fast food. There's Pizza Hut versus Pizza Hut Express, and I don't know. It all pizza's pizza. I mean, I like pizza. I just like some more than others. I like vintage. I like modern. I just like certain things more than others. That's all we need to say. Grimer, we will be drawing for the Charlotte section later at some point. Flip says Lost Origin reprint is coming. Have you heard from your distributors yet that you're getting any? I heard that people are getting up to 10 cases. Or no, 20 cases, sorry. I heard people are getting up to 120 boxes at 120 a piece, though.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Flip to Flip wants to know if Evolving Skies or ETBs or booster boxes are coming back. They might not. I'm just guessing. Like, anyone you're hearing from is just guessing. I don't know that there's any value in that. So under 2 years, they absolutely could. Even if it was over 2 years, they still could. If I had to guess either way, I would guess no, but it's worth nothing. It's just a guess.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. I haven't heard anything from my distributors. Hoping to hear something from one of them to get some boxes. I would definitely get some, even at that 120 price point. Hopefully it's lower than that, but probably not. But then for Evolving Skies, I who knows what'll happen. If I had to put money on one way or the other, I would say not. Just because I feel like they're gonna focus on Lost Origin, Astral Radiance, Silver Tempest, like the more recent sets. Since we really haven't. I guess we did. I think I was able to get a few more Astral Radiance boxes at one point. But Silver Tempest, we haven't seen anything from that as far as like reprints or restock or whatever they're calling it now. So I would think they're going to focus on the later Sword and Shield sets and Scarlet and Violet. I can't see them going all the way back to Evolving Skies. But
and at the end of the day, analysis paralysis, work where you have actual information. Like all the thought, all the energy poured into will this or won't this, like do something where you have actual information.
Yeah.
Zach K says, Dan, do you think PSA is finally standardizing Pokemon booster pack grading now that they're getting deluged with them? They've gotten fairly strict lately. I've graded 500 to 1,000 packs somewhere. I need to find the actual number. I had never gotten a 7 before, and I got over 10 of them. I had never gotten so many 8s before. 70% of my submission was 8s or whatever. Or, no, like 80% of my submission was 8s. Historically speaking, 40% 9s, 40% 10s, 20% 8s approximately. And I submitted similar quality to what I've always submitted. My only thing is, and I think it would be proper of them to do so, I think they're going to start taking into account pack impressions on the wrapper, because it does detract from the eye appeal. Eye appeal is a big part of grading, and my only guess is that they are now detracting for that, as they should have always been, in my opinion. But it's just so dumb. It's so crazy and silly. Like, what are we all doing with all this? Like, the card grading is inconsistent enough. The pack grading has always been way worse, and it just continues to be in a different way now.
Yeah, I did my one pack submission, like we were talking about in the premiere, did not go over well. So I don't think I will ever grade modern packs again. WotC packs, I was thinking about it, like Dan does, but after his latest submission, I don't even know that anymore. I wish PSA would come out and say what are the criteria for 10, 9, 8, 7 all the way down, like they do with the cards. The cards aren't. It's not like definite, because even PSA doesn't follow their 60-40 centering for 10s.
Well, in their guide,
then you have some idea.
Their guide is based on sport. Their guide is based on sports cards too. It says 4 perfectly sharp corners. Like, yeah, it's just
gives you some idea on what to look for. Right now, we have absolutely no idea what to look for in a pack.
Yeah, it's all just. I guess invest in PSA 10 booster packs. Not actually. If anyone couldn't sense the sarcasm there, please don't. Unless you want to, then do.
Unless you want to, then do. I hope CGC comes along and starts grading packs. Because I think that's one area that PSA isn't, like with the cards. PSA is just light years ahead of CGC. CGC will never be able to catch up to PSA with card grading. But packs, I don't think PSA's graded so many packs that nobody else can come in and compete with them. I think if CGC started to grade packs and was transparent about what they were looking for when they're grading these packs, and they came out with a really nice looking holder like they have with the cards, I think CGC could do really, really well with pack grading.
Yeah, I think they've mentioned their intent to at some point, so we'll see. Clint says, speaking of hops, which New York brewery makes better IPAs, KCBC or other half? I'm not like a beer aficionado. Primarily, I get into like I get into times where I'll just stick with one for a while. I don't know. I had a multi-year span a while back that was like Switchback Brewing Company for whatever reason. And right now I'm doing Sloop Juice Bombs as my drink of choice most places. It's getting pretty popular around here. Most bars have it on tap, and you can find it in most grocery stores and beer shops. But one thing that's always stood like tried and true for me is Saranac beers, because the brewery is like 30 minutes away from me. So I just always like supporting the old local brewery. But yeah, as far as these two breweries specifically, I feel like I've had beers from them, but I don't know.
And I'll just say IPAs in general are terrible.
I see Radar. Radar says Dan knows beer holders, not beer. Yeah, if you want to talk Schultz and Dooley Steins, I'm your guy. But not so much like the actual breweries themselves. Just the vessels in which you consume them from.
Oh.
So Garen has a 3-part question for us. He did do the big stop sign, so I like the big stop sign. I was hesitant to send too many submissions to PSA due to never doing it before, also never selling on eBay made me equally nervous. My slabs are gone, I sent a few submissions off, but now I'm posting Vs and VMAXs just to keep listings going. I'm pretty sure eBay thinks I'm just, air quotes, garage selling. Is it counterproductive to post these for the sake of keeping the algorithm happy if the algorithm isn't that happy? I feel like a lot of daily refinement isms are finding their way into this space more and more. I know Retro is the #1 fan of daily refinement. Shout out to Retro Specs. It actually is, memes aside, it is a really good YouTube channel for like knowing how to sell on eBay and growing your eBay. Funny thing is, the guy's like banned from eBay. He's primarily doing Poshmark right now. He does Whatnot and things like that too. But he's banned from eBay for like over a year now. I think he's trying to get unbanned. But anyways, at the end of the day, I think people get so hung up on this, you have to post X per day. The more good items you post to it, and the more regular you do it, the better the algorithm will look down upon you. If you make eBay money, they will like that. So I think some people get way too stuck to, like, I'm doing 10 a day for this whole year because I have the inventory, I have the backlog, I don't have to sweat it. Like, I pick 10, some days it's 50, it's always 10 though as a floor. I think some people that only have like a 100 item store or a 200 item store are getting really fixated on this 10 number. The number could be 1. It could be 10 a week instead. Like, whatever it is, be as consistent as possible. I think daily is better than once a week, but if you are listing trash to fill those slots that is not selling, sell-through rate matters to eBay. If you list a 10,000 item store and you're selling 10 items a month off of it, that's all clutter for eBay. That's server space. That's money for them to maintain on their server, however all that works. But yeah, if there's 10,000 item store that only sells 10 items a month, eBay does not like that. The algorithm does not like that because you're clogging up. Basically, consumers' eyes are the commodity. And if you're putting a bunch of junk in their face and you have low click-through rates and low sell-through rates and low inventory turnover rates, eBay will just like stop showing your entire store altogether more, I would think. Because at the end of the day, it's all about making them money. If you're getting sales, if you list 10 items and 10 items and 10 items, and a month later you've got 300 listings or 295 listings with 5 sales, that's not great. Like, you should be getting more regular sales. And just because they're bulk Vs and VMAXs, if they're priced right, we exist in a fascinating market. Such a deep, such a wide, such a broad market with massive liquidity. So if you're listing things at the right price, they will still sell. So like even because that's one thing people would be the next logical question. Well, where should I stop? What items should I not? Even if it's junk in Pokemon, if it's priced right, it's going to sell. And at the end of the day, you made eBay money. You made the algorithm happy. So it's not just listings. I feel like people get so hung up on this listing thing. It's sales. It's everything. It's profit. Make them money. They will help you make money. That's what it's all about.
Yeah. That is definitely true. Listing is important, but sales are also very important. And the best example of that is if you have a listing with multi-quantity. The first item that sells in that listing might take a little while, but then once you sell that first one, those other sales are just going to keep snowballing, and you'll be able to eventually you'll get to a point where you don't have to be the lowest price on eBay anymore, because you have such a tremendous sales volume in that listing. Your listing will be bumped up higher than other people's listings. So sales are definitely really important there. The other thing with your question about listing bulk Vs and VMAXs is I'm assuming you're not selling very many, which isn't necessarily you. It's because there's so much competition for those types of cards. If you're not the lowest listed, it's going to be a tough sell. For me personally, I set a floor price of $1.99 for ultra rares and $2.99 for like the which isn't the lowest list. Normally ultra rares are all the way down to on eBay, but I still sell a decent bit of those cards because I have so many listed. So people will come in and buy 2, 3, 4, 5, whatever copies of those cards, and they'll buy them from me for a slight premium because I have most of the cards that they're looking for. So I would recommend to keep going with what you're doing and get as many of those cards listed as possible, because sales are going to pick up once you have once you build up that inventory and have a wide selection of stuff. That's the biggest thing when you're selling those bulkier type cards. You're not going to do well listing one 99-cent card. You need to have hundreds of 99-cent cards so that people come in and buy multiple copies of that, or multiple copies of one card, or multiple different cards. That way you're actually able to make money on each of those sales, and people are more likely to shop with your store versus someone else's.
Nick's bringing those TCGplayer strats over to eBay. Talking floor prices and stuff.
Yes.
We touched on it a little bit earlier, but Ray asked, isn't Chinese made by Japanese manufacturers? I don't know if it's the case for all of them, but I do have a sealed Chinese Scarlet and Violet promo here, and it does say made in Japan. They do have the Japanese backs, right? Or no, they have the English back, actually. That's right.
Yeah.
I just opened one. I couldn't remember.
Hundreds of the Chinese ones, and you still don't know?
I got like 200 or 300, yeah. The PSA,
the first time you're realizing this?
The PSA 10s are like $35, so I'm just trying to forget them. But yeah, made in Japan, it says. So they're English back, made in Japan. Kind of an interesting thing there. Noiser PXE says, question, I have a few Japanese cards. How would you weather the Japanese market right now? Sell all now or greed and hold a bit or trickle sales? Reminds me of 2020 English. It is more 2020 than 2020 broadly in the Pokemon market, I think. It is absolutely mind-blowing. Because all this is happening with PSA being open. All this is happening with product on the shelves. Not all the product. You can't go get anything you want, but you can go get a lot of different stuff. And these prices are still doing what they're doing. It's crazy. Me personally, I am actively selling graded PSA 10 Japanese. I am actively buying raw and sealed Japanese to turn into PSA 10 as quickly as I can. One arbitrage opportunity that was not open in 2020 was you couldn't just chuck cards out and get them back so quick. I guess you could at the really high service levels, of which I am using some of the higher service levels to do what I'm doing right now. But yeah, I wasn't full time then either. So I am doing a little bit of everything. There are certain Japanese promos that I'm not like holding, I'm not investing in, but they're just priced higher. It's all pricing is all relative to my availability, relative to how easily I can replace them. So if there's super easy things you can replace, buy them raw, sell them graded, grade them again. Like, I don't know how much time everyone's going to have a different amount of time. It's going to be a different scenario for everyone. But yeah, to some extent, if the market's valuing a card that you paid $100 for 3 years ago, if they're valuing it at 1,000 and you don't value it that highly, that's a reasonable time to sell. Could it go to 5,000? Absolutely. Could you sell after a 10x to miss out on the next 10x? Absolutely. But at the end of the day, it comes down to personal preference. It comes down to your own thoughts on where it's all headed. But yeah, I guess that covers all my thoughts on it. Because at the end of the day, like, this is very much a crystal ball question.
Yeah, I would agree with you on that one. I would do the same thing. Get them graded and get them out the door as quickly as possible. The pricing for some of this Japanese stuff is going absolutely insane right now, and it's happening so quickly that it could last, but I can't see it lasting. So I would definitely get them graded, get them out the door. Because yeah, it is very, very similar to 2020 with English stuff. And I think it's going to be I think it's going to be a similar outcome in the end. Who knows how long it'll last, but I do think in the end it'll be a similar outcome where stuff does come back down to reality.
Yeah, I think a year from today, there will be cards that are 10x up, there will be cards that are 90% down, and there will be cards that are absolutely flat. That was the case in 2020 as well. Peak 2020, early 2021, whenever it actually peaked, there are some cards that are down 90% from then. There are some cards that 10x since then. That's going to be true for every year moving ahead, probably. It'll be smaller batches 10xing and larger batches going down 90%, depending on the exact timestamp. Different portions will fall into each bucket. Different amounts will fall into each bucket. But overall, like, every year there's going to be sleepers. There's always going to be things going nuts. And at the end of the day, just look at your situation. How much do you value the card? How much does the market value it? Tie in tax considerations and things like that. And yeah, it's wild out there right now, though. It's absolutely wild. NP Pokemon says, tip to get back into the hobby grind. I've really been slacking this year, but hoping KC Collecticon can get me back at it. Two things I would have suggested: a Collecticon and a PokeFlipz podcast. So it sounds like you're checking both boxes. So that's a great way to get back into the hobby grind.
Oh man, yeah. Good luck getting back into it. One thing I would recommend is it obviously depends on what type of person you are. Me, I'm a very type of person. So I actually this whiteboard in the back is a new thing for this year, where I basically keep track of everything. So how many listings I'm doing each day, auctions, buy it now. When I do my Instagram posts, I'll write that on there, and basically I'm like keeping track of what I'm doing every day and checking stuff off as I do it every day. And that's been actually really helping me. So it's helping me stay focused and get everything done when it should be. I used to have my YouTube video ideas written on there, but you don't see those on there anymore.
Yeah, those Nikki used to be a YouTuber. As long as PokeFlipz slots in every 2 weeks, I'm happy. CC Republic wants to know, what would be your picks for the best Pokemon YouTube video of all time? I'm so bad at picking bests and favorites. And do you have anything that jumps at you?
So my bet, using what we know, like current people on YouTube, I'm gonna say a Collecticon type recap video, made in like a combination video between Deep Pocket Monsters and Pokemon Classics, because I love the editing that both of those guys do. And Deep Pocket Monsters is really good about like conveying a story with the conventions that he goes to. So I think a tag team between them two at a Collecticon doing something and making it like a challenge, and then so part of it's like a challenge, some type of challenge, and then part of it's just walking around and talking to different people and showing the different stuff. I think that would be a really cool video.
You took the question a little bit differently than I did. You're like crafting a theoretical future video that could be the best YouTube video of all time.
I completely read that question wrong.
I was taking it as it was interesting to hear though. I mean, I liked it. Someone bring us that video. I guess Deep Pocket Monster and Pokemon Classics have to do a little collab. But
yes.
I don't think Matt's going to Card Party, is he? Probably not. Mid-school year, towards the end. But yeah, as far as like currently existing Pokemon video, I don't even watch a lot more of the like mainstream YouTube space. I don't think I listen to a lot of this style video, the super long form stuff. And I can fairly confidently say, no offense to us, no offense to anyone else who makes videos like this, these are not the best Pokemon YouTube videos of all time. So I don't even know what would be. I mean, I know Logan Paul has made the one that he made around the Illustrator deal and all that, the editing, and really cool to see that level of editing in the space. And Deep Pocket Monster hits a lot of really high production value videos. But as far as like one stand out above all the others, I can't really pick one personally. I likely haven't even seen it if I had to guess.
Yeah. Best current video. Yeah, that's a tough one. I don't know if I could think of. The Illustrator one was really good. Pokemon Classics Denver recap was really good. I really enjoyed those ones. But one single video I can't quite think of. I'm similar to you, Dan. I like these longer form discussion type videos or podcasts. Just something to listen to in the background. I very rarely watch Pokemon content, like actually watching it. I'm mainly listening to it. So yeah, I don't know. I don't know if I could narrow down to one video.
Yeah, it's tough. Mikkel Christensen says, question, I bought the Rockets special case with both promos for 9.6K a few months back. Recently got offered 12.8. Would you guys have made the flip or held on to it? I wouldn't have made the buy. If I did make the buy, it would likely be more to grade and then flip. So I wouldn't even be in the position you're in probably. That said, I'm not going to tell you what to do, but like if I somehow find myself in this hypothetical that I wouldn't have, I would sell today just because I would rather have that money to do business with. I don't think sitting on that, I mean, in this mania we're in right now, it feels almost like I think that's inherently a lot better item than some of these other items that are going through crazy multiples, but still, it's just not something that I'm going to like sit on as an investment, sit on and wait for somebody to pay me more later. Clearly, I mean, you timed it well, but what were your goals when you made the purchase? Was it a collection piece? Was it an investment? Was it a flip? You got to ask yourself those questions. Where can you put the 12.8K otherwise? And if there's somewhere better, lean towards selling. If there's not, if it's just for a collection piece, and I mean, lean towards keeping it, I guess I would say. That's where I'd be at on it.
I think that's the biggest thing. What you mentioned there at the end is what was the original intentions with it? It's really tough, especially nowadays, to have like a lot of people bought stuff pre-boom, pre-2020. I bought the majority of my booster pack collection pre-2020. And so nowadays, seeing all the pricing of all those booster packs and all the theme deck stuff, it's tough to hold on to them in some regard. But then on the flip side of that, I bought those exclusively for my collection because I really, really do like that kind of stuff. And so I've thought about selling them from time to time, but I've never actually gone ahead and started listing them and all that stuff. And it's because I still really appreciate them in having them in my personal collection. So for me, it's not worth it to sell it. But you just got to think about, is that something that you really want to have in your personal collection, or could you now use the money that you're being offered for it to buy something else that you want, or use it to buy more inventory to sell, or how much would the money actually help you, and all of that stuff.
And I think two interesting hypotheticals you can put yourself through to kind of test what you should do with the item. So pretend that you go to sleep tonight and pretend that you wake up tomorrow and it's $6,000. What will be your thoughts and feelings around having not sold it? Put yourself through another hypothetical. Say you sell it today for the 12.8. You go to sleep, you wake up tomorrow, it's $20,000. What will be your feelings then? How do those two differ? I mean, those might kind of instruct you towards which way you should lean. At the end of the day, it's like if it goes down 50%, it's still the same collectible that I bought because I love it and appreciate it, and I have the money to just buy it as a consumer. If it's purely profit-based, and yeah, like, also look at other things. Is there something out there you could buy for 12.8K that will bring you more utility or happiness in your life? Or is there something you could buy in the space that you can just not have to worry about someone paying more? Can you just buy 12.8K worth of stuff and flip it into more money? Easier than just sitting on this and waiting for someone else to do something and pay you more money. So just more ways to think about it. More ways to not answer the question on what exactly I would do, right? Oh,
your specialty there, skirting around the question.
I'm the guy at the fish market who someone comes up to me and they want a fish, and I'm like, instead of selling them that fish that I've got right in front of me, I'm talking about fly fishing and talking about deep sea fishing and talking about all the nuances about different styles and this and that. I just want fish. I don't want to learn to fish. Come on. So a couple people, Weedle and Anthony Henry Hoover, want to know on your thoughts on eBay Live. Are you happy with the margins from what you sold? Have you identified a category raw graded sealed that sells better than others?
So eBay Live has been going well for me. For those of you who don't know, it's now been 2 weeks since I've been on eBay Live. My first the same day as our last podcast, and so far so good. I'm having a lot of fun with it. Really do enjoy it. It wasn't funny, but it's kind of funny that my eBay Live last night, I had one scheduled for last night, and the app was not working for me, and it's understandable because eBay Live is new, but I was so upset that I wasn't able to go on there. It completely ruined the rest of my night. So that just shows the dedication I have for eBay Live. So definitely something unlike YouTube that I'm going to keep up. But yeah, no, as far as how it's going right now, the viewers are decent. I've been happy with the viewers that I'm getting. One thing I will say is that the number of viewers that you guys are seeing on each live, if you go back and watch the replay, or if you're in an actual live, the number of viewers is a little misleading. That's the total number of people who clicked on the stream, not the total amount of people who are actually actively in the stream. So for me, my first few streams they kind of peaked at like 60, 70 viewers, and they averaged 30 to 40 viewers. My most recent one on Sunday it peaked at about 80 viewers, and concurrent viewers were like 40 to 50. So I don't know if it was just I picked a good day and time for that specific stream, or maybe if my consistency is slowly starting to pay off. We'll see what happens during few streams if it kind of keeps going the way it is. One downside to eBay Live right now is that there's still not a lot of people who know about eBay Live. I still get constant messages whenever I post my Instagram stories. People asking, what exactly is this? How do I get into the live and all that stuff? So eBay definitely needs to advertise eBay Live more and hopefully make it a little bit more prominent in the eBay app, because right now it's kind of it's on the homepage, but it's kind of it really doesn't stand out very much. So there's the overview, and then like specifics, I have learned what sells, what doesn't sell, what to auction, what not to auction. The biggest thing that surprised me was how well modern packs do for pack rips. I was never expecting to become a ripper. I am not the most exciting personality for that type of stuff, so I never thought it would work for me, but that's actually going really, really well. Selling a bunch of modern packs in each stream. I'm actually planning on doing a dedicated stream for Paldea Evolved the day that set comes out, so I'm really curious to see how that goes. So those have been doing well. Buy It Now stuff has been surprisingly good as well. It's just stuff that I have listed on eBay. I'm going to start kind of copying Burbank. For any of you who watch his streams, he basically he runs new items every single night, just because of the sheer quantity of stuff that they're buying every single day. So every single one of his streams is stuff that they bought that day and just got listed on eBay. So I'm going to kind of copy him and start showing just a few items of things that I'm listing that same day that I'm doing the live. Because the Buy It Now stuff actually has sold decently well. Whether that be people purchasing it outright or people sending offers on cards that sometimes lead to sales, sometimes not. So that's been going well. Auctions have been hit or miss. Modern auctions, the tag teams, modern full arts, stuff like that have been doing really, really well. WotC has been doing decently well. There's been a few cards that sold like way under what I was expecting. Most notably, I don't know if I've seen him in the Brad G. I think he got the best deal on my eBay Live. It was a played condition Blastoise that he won $20, which I thought was really, really low. But so overall, the auctions are decent. Some stuff actually goes higher than what I was expecting to get. Some stuff goes on about average. Some stuff goes lower, which is to be expected right now. My goal for these eBay Lives right now isn't to make a ton of money. I'm going into this with the long term in mind. So right now, whatever an item sells for, I'm happy. I'm just happy people are actually in the stream, hanging out with me. So whatever something sells for, fine with me. I'm willing to take those losses with the hopes that long term I'll be able to grow on eBay Live and make this something more regular that I do. I briefly talked about it last week, or 2 weeks ago. But my whole thing right now is I would absolutely love to cut back on like the Buy It Now things on eBay and start doing more and more of these lives. Eventually going live on eBay and just have my eBay store like those low end bulkier type cards, and then like super high end, not super high end, but like few $100, $1,000 range. Those types of cards listed by store, and then all that kind of stuff in the middle, just sold through the lives every single day. We'll see if it ever happens, but that's what I'm shooting for right now. I know it's going to take a very long, but I'm super happy to have been on eBay Live this early, and I definitely want to take it while there's so few sellers on there.
I don't know if it's on my end or your end, but your audio, I could hear everything you were saying, but intermittently you would cut out for a second here and there. I mean,
thought you were going to say I was muted that whole time.
Oh, yeah. Now that your mouth has finally stopped moving after 10 minutes of being muted, I'll tell you were muted the whole time. No, it's not like I can still understand everything you were saying. It would only like chop in the middle of words here and there, but I don't know. Maybe it was just on my end. Maybe it's my $10 wireless earbud doing it.
Maybe I'll try turning up my gain.
Leaf Green Goblin says, if you don't need to move stuff quickly, is it still worth doing 99-cent auctions to get sales going? I see a lot of people advise that for new sellers. I think people overly fear low feedback sellers. So kind of getting over that hump, just getting a bunch of auctions front loaded to get to that first 25 or 50 or wherever people feel comfortable. I think there's merit to that. And Nick's talked about it before, but when you run an auction, I think it just brings eyes to your store in general. It brings eyes to every other listing you have. Not everyone will click through to see all your other items, but some percent will. And it's like a funnel game, right? Some fraction of the people looking at the auction itself will work towards the bottom of the funnel, click through other listings, make other buys, and
yeah. I really like doing auctions. I have a lot of that low end inventory. Like I recently bought a big collection of like light play, moderate play, WotC Hollow, and like the more damaged ones. I don't want to list. I don't want to list any of that stuff. Buy it now. I don't want to sell the like really bad ones through eBay Live. So I've been doing good about my weekday auctions that I mentioned in my New Year's resolution YouTube video. Talking about how I want to do auctions every day, Monday through Thursday. I've been doing well keeping up with that. There's been a few weeks around Collecticons where it's kind of tapered off, but overall it's been going well. And I really like doing them myself because I have a decent bit of that inventory already. So my goal is to clear some of that out and free up some capital and all of that stuff. So auctions work really, really well for that. Plus, I don't know exactly how many people win an auction and then buy something through Buy It Now in my store, but it's actually a decent bit of people who will win an auction and then check out what else I have and buy something else as well. So it helps out in that regard, and then it also helps out with sales metrics. That getting that guaranteed sale, getting the feedback, and all of that stuff. I think does really help. So I am definitely pro auction, and I would recommend if you have a lot of stuff that you're not concerned about the price. If you have a bunch of like high-end graded cards that you really want to get a certain price point for, probably lean away from doing auctions, because auctions you don't have any control over the price point. But if you have a lot of cards that you just want to get rid of and you really don't care about what it sells for, then I would definitely consider doing auctions.
I think your average player is mostly memeing, but any meme question can lead to actual answers. Should I spend $100 getting my waifu card to PSA, or should I wait 1 month until I move over to the UK? If this is like a timing, the hype, it could actually be a legitimate question. I have a card that is stonking right now. Should I spend more money to get it through PSA quicker, or should I wait and do it later? It's all a guess. Like, we don't know where the tops of these cards will be. There could be a 10x left in all these Japanese things that just 10x, 20x. There could be a 10x left. There could be a 100x left. Who knows? I highly doubt that a lot of these 1K PSA 10s that used to be $100 are going to go to 100K, but who freaking knows? That's what 2020 taught me, because when Pikachus and Eevees went to 500, I'm like, okay, that's got to be it. This has already gone too high. And then they had that last double in them. So at the end of the day, it's all just guesswork. No one really knows. I guess if you're the multi-billionaire behind all this, pulling all the strings, buying out everything, maybe you do know, because maybe you're the one, you'll just cut your buying at X amount of dollars. So maybe one person, a few people do know, this big investing block of people, that whatever their buy ceiling is, that's just where it will end. So maybe some people do know. But I don't.
I'm always hesitant sending cards at that expensive of a tier. I would maybe think about doing like not the $100 tier, but the next one down, like the whatever it is,
75
$50,
maybe.
$60 tier.
Yeah.
Yeah, something like that. But then again, we could be at the top of the mountain, and everything will be crumbling down by the time you get your card back if you do that. So don't be mad at me if that happens. But
And it could be, if it's a collection piece, I always say, like, there's no harm in waiting. There's no harm in waiting longer. I don't think it was as much of a value tier level. I think it was more like living in Norway, I believe. Must be a lot more expensive to send from Norway instead of sending from UK. I think that was part of it. But yeah, Anthony Henry Hoover wants to know, and you can start on this one. How big are you going in on Obsidian Flames in August, the Zard set?
Hopefully big. I just put my numbers in for that set with one of my, and I'm hoping to get as much as possible. Just depends on what they'll actually give me. I definitely did request a lot more than I did for Scarlet and Violet base. But then again, I didn't get all that I got. I didn't get all that I requested for Scarlet and Violet base even. So I don't think I definitely won't get all that I'm requesting for this next set here. But hopefully they'll continue increasing my numbers. But I would definitely like to get a lot of this set, because it does already look like it's going to be a good set.
And your average player did elaborate. He said he's moving to Chloe's country, so it will become cheaper to submit through Chloe as a middleman. It's selling for 4K and a 10. So if it will be selling in a month for 2K and a 10, send it now and sell it before it does that. If it will be selling for 10K and a 10, wait and then sell it when it's 10K and a 10. Just sell it at the highest. Don't sell it lower. Sell it higher. That's the best advice we can give.
Good advice there, Dan.
So good luck. Just tell the absolute peak. There will be one data point in 2021. In 2020, there was, for every card, there was a peak. Be that data point. Don't be the other data points. Be that one. For every card you sell.
It's that easy. It's that easy.
I mean, just do that. Yeah, it's sell high. Sell it for more money. Ernesto wants to know, is it a good time to buy WotC 8s yet? If you are a WotC 8 collector and you have the money and you enjoy the card, and it's always a good time. And I know Ernesto's going to love that answer. For flips, though, Ernesto's a flipping fiend, so please stay away from those for flips. Liquidity is not there. Ernesto knows where the liquidity is.
Oh, man. Yeah, liquidity is not in PSA 8s. It's in PSA 8.5s.
I mean, at the right price, I guess they're liquid, but you got to sell them for like sub raw, so probably not the place to be.
No.
Here's a question for you about why you moved away from TCGplayer. Also, have you tried the Store Your Product program, SYP? Something I only recently learned was a thing with TCGplayer.
Yeah, so I moved away from TCGplayer, not because it wasn't going well, but because I was getting way too stressed. It just wasn't feasible for me to keep that up anymore. So that was kind of I was enjoying it. But that was kind of the one aspect of the business that I was letting slide, and I really didn't want to do that to people. I started out shipping TCGplayer orders every day, and then it quickly turned into every other day, which I thought was fine. But then after a couple of months of that, it would turn into twice a week, and then it would turn into once a week, and then I started getting people occasionally messaging me, "Hey, when's this going to ship?" And at that point, I finally said, I can't.
Nick had enough.
I gave up on player. Yeah. And I thought I did decently well on TCGplayer. But I think my biggest downside was I wasn't doing TCGplayer right. I was listing all of the ultra rares and above on eBay, and I was listing all the cards on TCGplayer. And in order to get those like those floor prices for those bulk cards, like I know Mason and TCG Bulk Kings always talk about this. In order to get those kind of floor prices that are way above everyone else's prices for like common and uncommon cards, you need to have other cards listed on TCGplayer so that people purchase. Maybe they buy an ultra rare and then they see that you have this common card that they need to, and they'll buy it from you to save on that shipping. When you just have those bulk cards, it's tough to get those additional sales. So I don't think I was doing it the best way. So I ended up stopping TCGplayer, delisted everything. I actually just threw. It wasn't all like one day I stopped TCGplayer. It was over the course of a couple months. I would slowly lower my pricing until I got to my floor pricing of where everything was listed for 5 cents. And once sales kind of slowed down from there, mainly meaning that I was completely out of all the hollows, all those rares, good trainers, and all that stuff, and I was just left with like the true bulky type cards. That's when I closed TCGplayer, threw all those cards into my bulk boxes to sell off eventually. And going forward, I'm just going to list everything on eBay. So same as before, all the ultra rares and above listed on eBay. I'm not gonna list any of the non-hollow commons and uncommons anymore. I'm just going to list the reverse hollows and the hollows on eBay going forward. And then I'm also going to build, before I list those cards, I'm going to build as many common, uncommon hollow sets and reverse hollow sets as possible. List those on eBay, and then any additional reverse hollow, those list single cards, and then all of the extra commons, uncommons just get thrown into a bulk box. And eventually I want to start doing something with those, selling 1,000 card lots on eBay or something like that. But that'll be a project. But yeah, that's why I left TCGplayer, and I really liked TCGplayer. I thought it was a decent platform, but I just didn't have the time more. And then to quickly answer the second part, the SYP program, I knew about it because of if any of you guys are interested in selling on TCGplayer and want to learn more about it, definitely recommend his channel, because that is all he does is TCGplayer. He does some good videos on TCGplayer as well. But my thing with the SYP program was that there's a minimum for Pokemon. I think it's $1. It might be a little bit less than that. But my inventory listed on TCGplayer was way under the threshold that they required for the SYP program. So I was never going to be eligible because I didn't want to list those higher end cards on TCGplayer. I wanted to keep those. I always wanted to keep those on eBay. So I was never going to be eligible. So I had to do everything myself. TCGplayer Direct definitely helped in that regard. But Direct it's really nice, but I hope they continue expanding upon it, because not everything that you're selling on TCGplayer is eligible for the Direct program, which is a little unfortunate. But overall, Direct was really nice. I never got to try the SYP program.
It looks like it needs to be a $2 average card value. I don't see anything about a floor, but there might be a floor on top of the average card value. But it's something I intend to look further into. I don't know that I'll ever go that route, but it's just like a very much worse Troll and Toad Evo, unfortunately. Hermit Man 1 says, question: as far as investors / flippers go, what would you rank yourselves compared to Gary, Rusty, etc., and who would be S tier? I don't know. Rusty would definitely be an S tier from any angle, I would think. as far as just having been here a long time and the level at which he's doing it, is as far as like being super actively engaged in it still. I mean, Gary's still actively engaged in the hobby, but does he still have does he still sell a bunch of stuff through eBay or no? I don't even know.
No, he doesn't sell anything anymore.
I didn't think so. So very obviously a lot of he's had a lot of effect on where we stand today. A lot of what goes on, PSA, grading the cards and all that. A lot of that is owed to him in hand with like eBirdman, and I think there was another guy who passed away years ago. But I just, it's weird to try and rank myself. I'm definitely tier or tiers below that. I don't know where I'd place myself, but it just feels weird. What about you?
You're lower than Rusty?
I'm not
like a flipper.
I'm not in the same tier. Well, I mean, what are we basing it off of? Off of volume, dollars sold? Like I'm below him in all those. I guess am I far enough below that I wouldn't fall into the same tier? Is he just highest tier and I'm lower? I don't know. At the end of the day, I'm happy where I'm at, and whether that's S, A, B, C tier, I don't know.
I'm taking it as I would put you higher than Rusty, because Rusty still buys a ton for his personal collection. He sells way more than you, but he also buys a lot for his personal collection, where you're someone who's not buying anything for yourself.
So you're doing it based upon split of collector boy versus flipper boy, basically. I was taking it as just collecting aside, that's a separate thing, how much you actually sell. Because like Rusty, as a percentage, I guess he collects as a higher percentage than I do, but still raw dollar values, raw items, he sells a lot more than I do. So like any other question, you can take it a million different ways, but at the end of the day, Retro says retro F tier flipper.
F tier?
Where do you put yourself then? Are you S tier? Your no damage Ninetales bring you down to A tier. Your theme deck cases bring you down to C tier.
Oh man. I don't know. I don't know on that one. I think I would go Rusty. Rusty, me and you would be close, and then Gary from that list, because Rusty definitely sells the most and collects the most. You sell more than me, but you don't collect. I sell a decent bit and collect, and then Gary is down at the bottom because he doesn't sell anything. And he has a collection, but he's not adding to it, mainly because he already has everything.
Yeah, I mean, I collect. There's stuff behind me. I don't discount my PSA 10 Dan. Don't discount my Quaxley plushes. Come on. Retro's getting nervous. Retro's asking the scary questions. Question: if when popularity starts to wane and the market slows, what would be some key indicators that you would look for to signal that you were headed to that sort of environment? So I think one thing is just broader market volume, like of sales. I'll give a little shameless self-promotion. Jake and I from Pokenomics have a Pokenomics Patreon where we do different deep dives on different data from the various card markets and things like that. Not in May. Jake went in May, but in April, I went through and I did over the past 2 years, quarterly sales volumes, quarterly sales numbers by quarter, obviously quarterly by quarter for MetaZoo, Yu-Gi-Oh, Pokemon, Final Fantasy, like several different IPs. And I'm going to keep an eye on that moving ahead. Not daily. I mean, you can go daily. You can go weekly. You can get very, very granular with that. But I'm going to look at it a couple times a year. Update the spreadsheet for all the patrons that have access to those files. And I think that's a pretty good one. As far as looking at my own 90-day, to an extent, but my 90-day has increased throughout periods where the market's decreasing, just because like I went full time. I started listing more. Like I think that's one thing. Ray said earlier when we were going way back about daily listing, Ray had said at one point, I've noticed way more sales since I started listing 10 a day. Well, if you used to only list 1 a day and now you list 10 a day, you're going to notice more sales because you're listing 10 times the amount of stuff. So looking at your own personal sales data can be misleading, and it can lead you down a wrong path. Like, you can grow. I mean, one personal thing where I've seen that, MetaZoo. My sales have increased month over month, quarter over quarter, whereas the broader eBay sales have gone down. Now that Native is new and out, and now that the Topps Chrome is out, I think Q2 of 2023 will be the first successive increase quarter over quarter in the past like 4 quarters. That remains to be seen. We need to wait for the data to come. But yeah, I think those broader market type things and like sales volume is a pretty good one. And what are the grading companies doing? It's all public data. So keep an eye on TerraPeak, keep an eye on GemRate, sites like that.
You stole mine there at the end. I was going to say sales is definitely something that you can keep track of yourself, but sales always it always varies so much on eBay, whether your last 30 days and 90 days is up or down or anywhere in between. So that's a decent indication of what's going on. For me, I would keep track of the number of packages that I'm mailing every day. It's usually pretty steady at 50 to 60. So if it starts going up, then I know we're doing better. If it starts going down consistently, then I know things are slowing down. So I would keep track of that because of how much I'm shipping on a daily basis. But then I think another big thing that's what Dan said at the end is keeping track of how many cards PSA CGC is grading every month. If those numbers start to really drop off, that means people are sending less and less cards to them. There's probably a reason for it.
Yep.
And then another thing is if our distribution number, people who have distribution, if those numbers start to dramatically where we're getting our full allocation, and then our reps are calling us saying, hey, do you want to, that would be another big indication, because I haven't gotten a full allocation for a very, very long time.
If and when multiple sets start being available, I think we'll get back to it, but how and when it will happen. But if and when, like, you can buy the last 4 sets for wholesale rate off the distributor website, that would be an interesting metric to look at. Andy Ma says, question, what are your thoughts on the Nagaba EV Japanese promos? Are you guys buying to flip? Yeah, I bought 1,000 packs and then 800 were subsequently canceled. I might have 200 still coming from that first 1,000 batch, but since prices seem to kind of have settled, I bought some of mine between $6 and $10 a pack. I recently bought another 500, 600, 700. I don't even know how many on eBay in the past week. Hopefully those ones ship. I mean, I bought them just a few days ago. We'll see what happens. I think people are actually getting them in hand, so it's going to be paper handed to the bottom very, very quickly, I think. But I do think the promos are really cool, and I think long term they'll be at my cost basis, in my quantity. I will be happy 5 years from now, looking back. I think that I bought them.
Yeah, I was able to get some. I actually just got them in late yesterday. I didn't open the package yet. But that'll be either tonight or tomorrow's project is to get that opened. Hopefully get an even distribution of all of those. That's what I'm hoping for, at least. And then immediately send them off to PSA, mainly to PSA, some to CG. For that quick flip. I'll be aggressive with my pricing, but I'll do the complete race to the bottom and start selling them for a break even or close to a break even. I'll probably stay a little bit above the floor price for graded copies, and then slowly sell as many as I can as the prices, and then set kind of like a floor price that'll keep mine listed at for kind of the semi long term. But I do think it's going to be a quick race to the bottom on these ones. I'm excited to see what hopefully I'll be able to get some of mine back relatively quickly. I don't think I'll do any of the higher tier grades. Maybe I don't know. I don't know on that. I don't think I will. Maybe I'll try some because it doesn't seem like many people have them yet. So that could be a good opportunity there.
I was just gonna say yours arrived yesterday and they're not already at PSA. You're already dropping the ball on that one.
Well, I was gonna cancel PokeFlipz today to get those out.
Well, thank you for not. But have them out tomorrow. Absolutely, have them out tomorrow for sure. No excuses on that.
Yeah, I definitely do want to do that.
Birch says, I know Sundays are best for auctions, but what is the best end time? 7 p.m., 8 p.m., 9 p.m. How critical is your auction's end time? I think this is another one of those things that people think way too much on. I think generally speaking, Sunday works better than other days. That's like the general. But at some point, it probably gets like overcrowded. Like, do you remember when PWCC in its heyday, when PWCC was doing 20 items ending a second for like an 8-hour block on eBay? Like, at some point, if James is ending Sunday, if Nick's ending Sunday, if I'm ending Sunday, if everyone is ending Sunday and there's just 5 million Pokemon items ending, it becomes too much. And maybe Wednesday at 3 p.m. is better. And are we talking Eastern? Are we talking Pacific? Take good pictures, have good items. They'll get, and the item, it's more dependent on the item than the end time or anything like that. If you list a PSA 10 Celebrations Charizard, I'm shilling the crap out of that card lately. If you list a PSA 10 Celebrations Charizard, you will get within 10% of the lowest buy it now price most times. If you list a PSA 7 Venusaur Art WotC booster pack, you're gonna get wrecked. If you list something more niche, if you list something more vintage, less liquid, you're more likely to have a wider variance of auction times. There's just extrapolating from small data sets is something that is an epidemic in this hobby. It's like, I opened one pack, I got an alt art from a tin. Tins have good pull rates. I sold one item last week, I sold 2 this week. The Pokemon market is booming, we just doubled. Way too much extrapolation from small data sets in this hobby. So run one auction at 8 p.m., run one auction at 7 p.m. Whichever one performs, that is universally the right answer, right?
Yeah. I do like Sunday auctions myself. I've always liked running Sunday. And I do 9 p.m. Eastern time for my auctions to end, which I like that time, but I would play around with it. But even if you play around with it, there's so many variables that go into it. I think nowadays, like back in the day, like I was like 2009, 2010, I was reading a bunch of books on eBay. And everyone back then would say Sunday has the most traffic on eBay. So nowadays, I don't know if that's still true. I would think it's true to some extent that weekends have more traffic during the week. But now where there's so many more people on eBay and so many more people with smartphones who could be on eBay from anywhere, I don't know if that's as true anymore. And then now you have those like what's that Geeksman where you can set up
Nice.
Put your maximum bid and it'll bid for you automatically the last few seconds. I don't know if it's as true anymore. But I would just play around with it, see what works best for you. The biggest thing is to just avoid those oddball times. Don't have stuff ending Monday morning at 3 a.m. something like that. Just avoid those types of like super random times where nobody's going to be awake. But aside from that, I think you're good ending any day. I know Rusty's always talked about how I've always said Mondays are a no-go for auction. Rusty's always said, or I forget if it's Mondays or Wednesdays now. One of the 2 days. I think it's Mondays because I always didn't like Mondays. And Rusty actually says that Monday is good auction. Maybe because nobody else is listing auctions on Monday. So there's so many variables that can go in.
And at the end of the day, it's like you ask 10 different people, you're gonna have 12 different answers probably. Everyone's just guessing. Like it's extrapolation from too small of data sets. That's what it's always gonna be.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, I was just trying to look up something on TerraPeak for an upcoming question. Where'd it go? High FOMO says, have sales slowed down since SV base set in your opinion, or the opposite? So I did the 3-month span. When did SV base release? March 31st. Okay, I did do it properly. So I did the 3-month span leading up to March 31st. So January 1st to March 31st. And I guess I didn't do that. Let me do the trading card category. So the 3-month span from March, I guess I need to do 2 months. Anecdotally, my sales have gone up, but I think that's because of what I'm doing. That's not really indicative of the market. So the 2-month span from April 1st to May 31st is $51 million in sales in the Pokemon. I guess I should just share screen so people can actually see what I'm doing here. Let me so here's for when we start rolling the things, but let me switch my Chrome window to this. You can see part of my messy desk. So on TerraPeak, don't like extrapolate from your 100 listing store. Even if you have a 10,000 listing store, it's just too small of a data set to do anything with. Go into TerraPeak. Go to, okay, so I'm in the category of CCG individual cards. I am searching for Pokemon as a search term from April 1st to May 31st. And why is it not letting me search? So I'm searching Pokemon in that category. I don't know why it's not sticking with the category. Let me just add Pokemon PSA. For whatever reason, it's not locking my category. But let's just search Pokemon in all of eBay. So this is all of eBay, not just cards. This would be plushes and everything. But 51 million in sales in the month of April and May. So now after doing that, we need to look at going back to, this is kind of finicky. If you try to go across different time spans.
Mm-hmm.
But February and March, because we did April and May, right? So now we're going to look at February and March. Yeah. Does anyone remember what the number was?
51 million.
It's 54 million. So it's down 3 million over 2-month windows. So that's not extrapolating from small bits of data. That's not that's not anecdotal. That's the entire eBay market. That's not TCGplayer, that's not Troll and Toad, that's not PWCC Heritage Golden, but it's still a way bigger data set than any of us individually have. So when people say I sold 10 items last week, I sold 20 this week, the market's doubled, just go to TerraPeak and spend a minute putting the things in there. And you can do Pokemon PSA, and you can do MetaZoo, and you can do Yu-Gi-Oh! You can do PSA 9 Jungle First Edition Holo. You can look at as big of a data pool as you want, and as small of a data pool as you want. And that's just like a one data point compared to the April thing that I did, where I went several TCGs, booster boxes, graded cards, PSA versus CGC versus BGS. It's a very powerful tool that no one uses.
I was gonna say I've never even looked at that page before.
It's actually really, I mean, it's really powerful data. It's really, really interesting.
Yeah, I'll have to check it out. But yeah, you said a $4 million difference.
Yeah, so and like less than 10%.
Almost 10%.
4 million. It was 3 or 4 million on 54 million. So you're talking 6-7%. How big of a deal is that? I don't really know. We did get new numbers. We got 9.1 billion was what they had printed fiscal 2021. We just got the fiscal 2022 numbers, and that was 9.7 billion, I believe, right? So
Yep.
total printing over the prior fiscal year was 600 or 700 billion cards more, 5 to 6% higher than the prior year. That's another bit of data that we only get on an annual basis. We only get it once every year, but that's an interesting number. A year from now, approximately, we should get the new number for, did Pokemon print 20 billion, or did they print 5 billion, or were they still around 10? That data comes in slowly, though.
Yeah. Yeah, I was surprised by that number there.
I think we're fully caught up now. So we might as well do our little selection process, right? Since I showed the screen anyways.
Oh, before we start that, I need to go get a drink. I am dying of thirst over here.
Okay, well, I'll try to get the screen set back up. Everyone can see my messy desk for a second while I get the window selected.
I'll be right back.
Okay. So here's the spreadsheet. Yes, I do still have all my PSA 7 and PSA 8 booster packs on my desk. So what we're going to do here, here's the spreadsheet. For anyone whose name is not here that thinks they have a table for Charlotte, I guess you don't, but you can see between Nick and I, you can see the total tables is 45. Let me move this over here just so we can see it better. But yeah, the total number of tables is 45. We do have 50 available, so there are like 5 excess. We are going to just roll random numbers in this column, and the way that it's going to work, if you get a 1, you'll be in Nick's section. I told him don't get himself all built up over it. He's number 1 here just because he was first on the sheet. I let him know that he's not actually number 1 in any other way. Mason will be number 2, I will be number 3, Weedle will be number 4, and Ray will be number 5. So we'll literally just roll here. The reason that I have it set up for 3 to 5 to start is because Mason is taking 5 tables. I guess you can't see that here. I'll just hide a lot of these columns that don't matter.
Ugh.
I'm just hiding some sections that don't really matter. So yeah, here's the section number. And yeah, I'm gonna randomly roll for the first few times, only 3 through 5, just so that we can start to fill up a little bit more. I guess it doesn't really matter. I guess we can just roll 1 through 5, and then we just stop rolling you guys as you get to like 9 tables. Once everyone gets to 9 tables, then we'll pull them out of the list. We might just have to renumber.
Okay.
But this is the way we'll do it.
I'll keep track of what the table numbers are at.
So we're on Java right now. So Java, we're gonna roll your number 1 through 5. We rolled a 3. So Java, you're in my section. Welcome to the winning team.
Welcome to the winning team.
So I'm not gonna write 3 just in case my section fills first and I have to reallocate the numbers. I'm just gonna write Dan. Your section number is Dan. I guess I'll put it over here. But yeah, my section is up to 3 tables or 4 tables now.
4 tables, yeah.
So I'm gonna roll Brandon BB right now. Brandon has 2 tables. So Brandon's 2 tables are going into section 2. Brandon's with Mason. So Mason's section's already at 7 tables. Mason's going to be coming off the list fairly soon. We've got Lord Pokesmoke. We're going to roll for him. Lord Pokesmoke rolls a 5. So sorry, Lord Pokesmoke, you are the first one drafted onto Ray's team. Very unfortunate for you, but
how many tables did he have?
Pokesmoke has one, and Ray has 2. So I will say part of the reason we're doing this is just because we didn't want to do this awkward thing where like people were choosing and who's going to be picked last and all this and that. I think this is just the fairest way, and it's kind of a fun way to just looks like I got Ponga. Number 3 for Ponga. Now we're going to do Mertz. This is just a quick, easy way to allocate people into tables without having to have anyone feeling like they were left out or last picked. We're going to roll for JLJ. Mertz went into Weedle's section.
Wait, hold on. Mertz is Weedle's. He has 1 table.
Mertz has 1 table in Weedle's section.
Because my screen is super delayed right now.
Oh, okay. JLJ just went into section 2. So JLJ is with Mason. Looks like Nick is getting picked last year. No one wants to be in Nick's section.
No one wants to be with me. Come on.
This random number generator does not want to pick so it just picked 4. So Mr. Walrus. I think Mr. Walrus, I forgot about that. We were going to actually put him in Nick's section. Mr. Walrus apparently gets favoritism. So Mr. Walrus is going in Nick's section. Now we just rolled Nick's section for Gildry. So Gildry's half table is going to be in Nick's section. Actually, it works out well that one of the half tables goes into one of the bigger sections. That way, the badge allocation works out well. So now we're rolling for Bierski, Kevin. Bierski's going into section 4. Section 4 was again Weedle.
Oh.
Now we're gonna roll for Jake, Pokenomics. Jake is in mine, so Pokenomics coming into the Pokenomics Patreon section, I guess we'll have to call it now. And if and when anyone on this list, I mean, later today, after this stream, reach out to your section leader, facilitate it through the Collecticon Planning Discord. Please pay for your tables. One thing that we're currently going to be looking at by the time we're done, 5 tables, I guess I just hit it, but 45 out of 50 tables are claimed. Each section leader will have like 1 vacant table in their section. If and when they don't get booked, I guess each section lead will just have to take an extra table, or if someone within the section wants another table, we'll have to sort things out. But ideally, reach out to your section leaders, pay your section leader so that your table is like fully secured. Obviously, you still need to pay when all is said and done. Now we're rolling for PK. Is anybody like, no, that was just Pokenomics.
Okay, that was big. Okay.
I don't think any section is like full yet, right? Or nearing full even.
7. Everyone else is good.
So if this rolls Mason, we'll have to re-roll because we don't want to fill out Mason's section. We just want to fill it to 9.
Yeah.
Just because we're rolling PK. PK, I guess if we roll a 2, we did roll a 2, so I'm going to roll again. So PK went into Nick's section. Okay. Is your section at...
I'm at 8.5 right now.
Oh, so the half table is going to kind of... Since Weedle has 2.5, that half... We're going to have to cap you at 2.5, or 8.5, sorry.
Yeah.
Kind of the weird circumstance. Weedle's going to end up with 9.5, I guess. You're going to end up with 8.5. But yeah, we're going to pull out... We're just going to roll 1 through 4. I guess we can roll 2 through 5 so that we don't mess up what we've been naming everyone. So Nick's section is effectively full. Looks like Nick went from least popular. No one wanted to join his team, and then everyone piled in. Everyone piled in late. So now we're just going to roll from 2 to 5 since Nick is full. Next one, we rolled a 2. So Colson is going to go into Mason's section.
How many tables did you have? 1?
1. Thrifty.
So Mason's at 9.
Okay, so Mason's full now. So Mason's full, and we're just going to roll 3 through 5 now. So Thrifty's going in my section. If and when people want to trade tables, if anything like that goes on, because I can just feel the questions coming. At some point, the questions are going to come. Pay your section leader that you've been put into via this process. And if and when you want to swap, like get your badges from and pay your section leader. If you want to trade tables with something, I guess do that on your own terms. Because the amount of organization and the amount of headache that comes from this from time to time is just a bit excessive. So now we're gonna spin for Connor Limpert after Thrift. You got Thrifty in my section, right?
Yep. So you're up to 8 tables.
Okay. So we just rolled a 5. So Connor Limpert is going into Ray's section
With 1 table?
with 1 table.
Okay.
And now we're gonna
up to 4.
now we're
Still
gonna
in
roll.
last place.
Yeah. Now we're gonna roll for Gengar's Den. Gengar's Den is in my section.
Okay. So now you're up to 9.
Okay, so my section's filled out. Now we're just flipping a coin. Now we're flipping a coin for Weedle and Ray. So we're gonna random number generate just to keep the numbers consistent. I'm just gonna random number generate from 4 to 5. So next one goes into Weedle section. Or wait, 5. No, sorry, 5 was Ray. 5 was Ray.
How many tables? 1 table.
E unit is one section, 1 table for Ray.
Okay.
Now we're gonna roll for the green shiz. I clicked it. He also went into Ray's.
1 table again.
Yep, Brad G cards, 1 table. I think everyone else is 1 table. I'm clicking the button. It's rolling. It's just coming up 5 every time now. It's stuck on 5. So it's 1 table again for Grimer Collects, and he went 4. So Grimer Collects went to Weedle section.
Okay.
Tennis Wolf, Weedle section. Sterling, E Banana. Weedle section. Zach, Goo Range 315, Go Orange 315. He went 4, so he went Weedle section. Pokemon DNA, Ray's section. With 1, everyone else is 1 table. Where are they both at? Are they both at 8, or is one of them at 9?
Ray's 8. Ray is 8. Weedle's 8.5.
So whatever we roll here, the other one will be the opposite. So we just rolled Ray. So Larry Sherbert, who we had the pleasure of meeting as well in New Hampshire, he's in Ray's section, and then Pikachu is in Weedle's section.
And is that everyone?
That's everyone. Yep.
Okay. So we ended up with me at 8.5 tables, you at 9, Ray at 9, Weedle at 9.5, and
I didn't even think about it, but we should have, in hindsight, since Weedle was up for a half table, we should have just put the only half table in his section automatically. At the end of the day, like, it's not a huge deal. Weedle might just opt to go for a full 3 tables, and then his section's full. So that would leave us with 4 tables remaining to fill. 4.5, I guess. So if and when you're in a section that has a spare table, if you're on the borderline of you were between 1 and 2 and you opted for 1, first come, first serve as far as filling out the section. So appreciate everyone utilizing that sheet. If you think you were on the sheet but your name is not here, please reach out to somebody as soon as possible, because tables might fill out. We have 5 sections and that's it. Charlotte's sold out. It's first come, first serve. And same thing goes for payment. Just because your name is on there, just because you were rolled into a section, if you don't pay, obviously you're not secured until you're paid. So facilitate that with your section leader. Sometimes it's cash at the convention. Sometimes it's some fee-free method like Zelle or Venmo or PayPal, or facilitate that all with your section leader. How long did that just take? That wasn't too bad. 10 minutes? 12 minutes? Somewhere in there.
Yeah. 12 minutes exactly.
Team Ray. So Ray says in chat, in live chat, he says, Team Ray, I will create a chat on Discord and ping you for payment/communication. So Ray's already shaken down his his crew for money.
Oh boy.
Mr. Walrus says, I'm not paying for my table. No sales, no payment. So yeah, that's out of the way now. We got an hour and a half left. We're gonna go till 4:30 Eastern time as normal. A nice little fantasy draft through random number generator to break up the live in the middle there. I do see a couple. I see a couple people on the spreadsheet. A couple people checking it out. So as of right now, there's still 5 unclaimed tables, 4.5 unclaimed tables maybe. So be sure to reach out as soon as possible if anyone wants more or wants one. Here's an interesting question that came in, I think, right as I was making the transition to the spreadsheet. I'm sure we're going to go to like answering some questions about like PokeFlipz general topics, and then we might get some spreadsheet related questions. So we'll just bounce them back and forth as needed. But Anthony Henry Hoover says, have you noticed Pokemon releasing sets more often now? I think this is one of those things that is constantly being brought up, and people constantly think that they're releasing more. The interesting thing though, if you go to Bulbapedia, we're at like 100, 110 sets. It's 4 main sets per year, and it's always been. Several years back, they did add 1 specialty set per year. They had Dragon Vault, they had Shining Legends, they had all these different ones. Slightly more per year than it used to be, but only ever so slightly. I think a lot of people, just the age of social media, all the videos, all the Discord groups, all the Facebook groups, you're constantly being assaulted with things, all these different sets coming out. It feels like more, but it's really not. It's really been a fairly consistent pace for the 25-year duration. They did step it up several years back with the additional holiday set every year, the half sets they call them. But overall, like it's been pretty constant. If you look at Pokemon's history, 10 years in, they were at about 40 sets, 45 sets. 25 years in, they're at a little over 100, just over that 4 per year, and they've always been. More promos, more general releases. If you count boxes and tins and things like that, there's more things happening at all times. Small releases, minor releases, but major sets, it's fairly constant. It's been fairly standardized.
Yes, they are releasing the same number of sets each year, but it does feel like the sets are closer together this year than previous. I don't remember. Maybe it's just because I have a shitty memory, but I don't remember having to put allocations in for the next set before the previous set. Like we had to put our allocation numbers in for Paldea Evolved before Scarlet and Violet Base came out, and then we had to do the same thing with this. I'm drawing a blank on the new one, but the one that comes out in August. I had to put my numbers in for that set by Monday, I believe. So before Paldea Evolve even comes out. I don't remember having to do that in the past. So I don't know if the set's like, is this June set coming out early, a little bit earlier than it usually does, and is the August set coming out a little bit earlier? I don't know. I don't know if it's always been like that and I'm just noticing now, or what's up with that.
You can go to Bulbapedia and you can look up list of expansions. It feels like we're just getting into analysis paralysis. It's 4 to 5 sets a year. It's always been. It feels like more just because of the age of social media and all that stuff. But overall, it's pretty much the same amount of major sets at least. Special releases, promo cards, things like that, those have been accelerating crazy, definitely, on that end. So that's probably what makes it feel...
Do you put numbers in for each set before the previous set comes out?
I haven't even put numbers in for a set in, like, I don't know what distributor you're talking about putting numbers in, but it's the one I don't have, right?
Yeah, Southern.
I just get numbers given to me still. I have not put numbers in for, like, any... I mean... little things here and there, maybe like the collection boxes, but I'm still with my 2 distributors in that space where, like, here's what you're getting. Do you want it all? It's just been such a weird. I don't pay attention to those little details as much as I probably should, to be honest. But I'm in the chat now where everyone's talking about the draft that we did. Ray says, yeah, all section leads could easily take another table because we're rich. Dennis Wolf is saluting to section leaders. A little bit of commentary around all the look. Oh, Tennis Wolf had the pro strats. He was looking at the live spreadsheet instead of YouTube, so he was getting spoilers like 10 seconds ahead of time or 20 seconds ahead of time. That's the real pro strats. He was seeing me type in the names before it was announced to YouTube. Oh man. Weedle's Warehouse says, let's go. Welcome, fellas. We'll be sending an invite to the Weedle's vending Discord to keep y'all posted on everything. So, yeah, definitely whatever communication method. I think pretty much everybody in that sheet is in Discord. So, Discord private chats, if you want to exchange cell phone numbers. Because another thing you need to do, like on site at the actual event in Charlotte, you need to get your badge from the section lead. Section leaders will get their badges on Friday sometime. So you need to find them Friday sometime or Saturday morning as the event opens or before the event, whatever it may be. So definitely find a good channel of communication to your section lead to facilitate all that. This is what a manager's meeting looks like, huh? Retrospect says, if Pokemon just keeps coming out with crazier looking arts and rarities forever, why would the train ever stop? It's actually a really interesting consideration, especially when you look at something like Dragon Ball Super. I recently had a Dragon Ball Super collection pass through my hands with that big buy where I was primarily targeting the Pokemon, but then a lot of other things came with it. You look at a common card, and those things look like our alt arts. They look like crazy, the common cards. So if and when Pokemon makes a jump, when they make a jump to like how flashy and shiny things look, they probably can't go back. They added the reverse holo card for the first time way back in WotC, right? They started adding them in Legendary Collection and then the E-Series, and they never went back. Like once they give you shiny, once they give you fancy, they can't really go back. Once you go full art, you can't go back. You can't go more full art than full art, and then they do this alternate art. They'll start doing shiny alternate arts, shiny full arts with the shiny vault and hidden fades. They just recently made, instead of 1 shiny card per pack, now it's 3, right, with Scarlet Violet. So where is this all headed? What effect will it have on what's already out? Kind of like a shiny inflation or shiny creep, power creep, shiny creep. What's going to come of all of it? At the end of the day, like, I don't know where it's headed. I think Jake has talked about this in his own videos in our Discord various times, but it's not new. Like, comic books have had reprints upon reprints, fancier, shinier, alternate art covers, and this and that. Generally speaking, some of those do better than others, right? It's hard to say where we're all headed, but you can try to look to other hobbies. I mean, even coins. Coins 100 years ago, 200 years ago, it used to just be the coins they produced for like actual money, for actual like exchange of goods. And then they started doing proof strikes 100 years ago or whenever it was. That now they do, like, if you look at the U.S. Mint, they do all kinds of collector things, coins that are they are legal tender, but they're never entering the actual pool of money that's being transacted. They're purely collector's pieces, and some do well and some do very poorly. So going into the future, I'm along for the ride. I don't know where we're headed, but you can kind of get a hint as to where we've been and then where other hobbies have gone. So I'm really interested. Look at Magic too. Like Magic Alpha, it was all non-holos. It was all non-holos of varying rarity. Magic's doing serialized now. Serialized is probably in the future of Pokemon someday on a long enough timeline. Magic's doing full arts, alternate arts, special promo releases. Look outside Pokemon and you'll probably see like a pretty good idea of where we're headed. And is that good or bad? It's worked for some and it's not worked as well for others.
Yeah. I can't see a world where like the art on cards starts to go down and get worse. and we go back to like the WotC era where your hollows are now your cards. I don't think that'll ever happen. I think it's going to be more so if and when we inevitably see a decline. It's going to be more so like you were saying, Dan, where it's just we're seeing more and more of these alt arts and all these other cool cards. And eventually, people will just get burnt out and not be able to keep up with the pace that Pokemon's keep coming out with these cards. And I think that's what's inevitably going to happen. Can't see it happening anytime soon. I think Pokemon's absolutely killing it, but I think that's what would happen eventually.
And Squeak said, along the same lines I did, it feels like more because, one, they're releasing more products than they ever had. So even though it's not more sets, it's more collection boxes and tins and premium collection boxes and things like that. And then, two, they are dragging special sets out so long beyond their initial release, like Crown Zenith across 3 months. Back in 2016 timeframe with the mythical pin collections, that was a 12-month release for Generations. I always try to say celebrations for Generations and vice versa. But yeah, for Generations, you had the 4 boxes, 1 per quarter. You had the 12 boxes, the mythical pin, once per month. So even though like the number of sets per year hasn't gone up, it really is like crazy gone up with all the different promos, with all the different like special boxes and stuff they do. Then they do Target exclusive boxes, Walmart exclusive boxes, not EB. I was gonna say EB Games, but GameStop exclusive products. Your average player says, if you guys lost an aspect of your business, what aspect would you choose to take a hit on? I'm thinking on this one. Do you have anything jump into mind?
I would say like the bulk stuff. WotC commons and uncommon, modern bulk, even getting into like the ultra rares and stuff. If I ever get to a point again, like I felt with like on TCGplayer, and feel like I need to cut something out, that would be the first thing to go, obviously, because it's the cheapest price points. It takes up the most amount of time. It's the highest percentage of like the orders that I'm shipping out every day, lowest percentage like money that I'm making. So that would be my obvious choice, is that type of stuff.
Or YouTube, right?
I don't even consider YouTube a part of my business.
YouTube's already gone, so he can't say that one anymore. For me, it's probably my newest, more, I don't know if I would call it a major component of my business, but probably my consignments. It's interesting because I'm actually like revamping my consignments, and I'm going to come out with like a big advertising push for my consignments for June. But they're just the newest form. And I feel like, honestly, they're the most at risk of being taken away from me. Like if and when eBay started directly interacting with people with the eBay vault, if and when eBay implemented a PWCC style, send to us, we'll sell it as auction, we'll sell it as buy it now on your behalf. If eBay wanted to consign, if they wanted to be in the consignment business, they could shut most eBay consigners down. I don't think they want to. I don't think that's ever a risk, but it feels like the other parts of my business, I feel like I have more control over, and I have less risk of them being forcibly taken away from me. So I would choose that one just because it feels like the thing that I could wake up to some news that, hey, you've been doing this consignment thing for a while, but this new player just entered the arena and you can't touch the rates, so you're going to have to just shut that down. That's why I would pick that.
Yeah, that's a good answer.
Got some meme questions coming in. Oh, here's a real question. Shipping playmats, what's the best way to do those? I don't really sell playmats.
For single playmats, I throw them into a poly mailer. I forget the sizing that I got, but I just got a big poly mailer that fit the Charizard UPCs, and I throw it in there.
You keep them
Throw a
rolled.
shipping label on it and call it good. What was that?
You keep them rolled.
Yeah. Well, the Charizard ones are nice because they come in that box, but yeah, the other ones, yeah, I just keep it rolled. Throw it in there, and then the other thing is, if you have a lot of them, I've been doing not like the regular box looking flat rate box, but the other one, the like tall and skinny one, the medium flat rate box. You can fit 11 of the Charizard UPC in, or not UPC, Charizard playmats in that box, and I've been selling them that way.
And Squeaks is the chat MVP of telling us what products fit in what boxes. So it's an 800 count card box. Roll it up, pop it in there. It's a 15-ounce first class shipment. So there you go, right there. I think. Oh, I think we're mostly caught up aside from a couple meme questions, so I'll throw one meme up. Question: is Nick buying drinks for other 4 sections when he sells the least in Charlotte?
Oh man, hey, I'm bullish on having the people in my section. We're gonna take the cake this time.
We're fully caught up right now. We have a little over an hour to go. We're fully caught up. So if you have any questions, feel free to drop them in chat. I will say, next time a question comes in and I can feed it to Nick, I don't want to leave him in an awkward silence. But I do have some stuff going on the smoker. So I'm gonna go up, grab a drink, use the restroom, and flip some stuff on the smoker. So once we get a question in here, I'll give my answer, and then I'll turn my camera off for a couple minutes and be back.
And we'll just sit in silence until the next question comes.
I see a couple people.
How have you ever been caught up in at 3:30? This is weird.
I know we're crushing it today. We got 100 people watching almost. We're crushing it. I was gonna say either we're crushing it or we're doing terrible because there's no one in here watching with no questions.
Oh man.
Weedle's wondering where Ernesto is. Bullish on Charlotte. We got some slots left for Charlotte. I see no Retro on there. I see no Ernesto on there. There's some other names. There's some other names out there that aren't up on there. Ernesto says, Dan never heard of the advanced Bluetooth technology. I will hear you the whole time. I'll take this with me. But my mic, you guys don't want me to have a terrible one, so I got this nice fancy blue Yeti that I can't really take along with me.
You just gotta get a really long USB cord.
Let's see if Nick can stretch his answer on this question out to like the 3 to 5 minutes.
You were gonna say
Let's hear the 3 to 5 minute response from Nick about Yu-Gi-Oh and Digimon trophy prize cards. I won't abandon you on this question. I do not personally have much of an opinion. I do play in Pokemon trophies. That said, I've been largely priced out of them. I retain one, what I would call a trophy card, the Full Art Pikachu trophy card that I'll probably get listed fairly soon. I mean, it is for sale if someone hit me with the right price. But Digimon, Yu-Gi-Oh, I think you're a lot more niche, a lot less liquid than the Pokemon space, but there's probably merit. At the right price, they'll probably do well over some time frame. What that right price is, I have no idea.
Yeah, I barely follow Pokemon trophy cards. I don't know anything about Yu-Gi-Oh.
I didn't want to make you have to stretch that out to 3 minutes, so I'm here with you. Trapper Paul says, gotta flip them Walmart steaks. It is kind of a sad state of affairs that I'm in. I do not have a great butcher around me that just like consistently has good stock. My best butcher is Walmart. The meat department at Walmart is actually like low key. They always have prime in stock. They always have good meats, plentiful. It is what it is. I've got one butcher that I kind of pass on the way, they just almost never have anything. I don't know that they're so popular they're always sold out, or they just don't stock anything to begin with. I don't know what it is, but it kind of sucks. Bullish on Walmart steaks though. Here's a question you can probably do well with. I'm gonna give you my quick answer and then I'm gonna run and I'll be back. Flip2Flip says, if you had to pick between 200 Cosmic Eclipse loose packs and 40 evolving ETBs, what would you pick for midterm invest to flip? I personally, just because it probably has less risk of going down in the short term, and you can answer this from every angle you have to until I get back, flipping, investing, collecting, whatever. But collecting wise, short term, holding wise, even long term, well, I would pick, as long as they were known, trusted, good loose packs, Cosmic Eclipse, I would take the Cosmic Eclipse packs on most angles. Just because short term, I do think Evolving Skies ETBs could be reprinted again. Well, I don't think that. I know that they could be. Whether they will or not, I don't know. Evolving Skies booster boxes could be too, and that could just be more of a short term detriment to that. That said, Cosmic Eclipse packs, they could be reprinted and thrown in some collection box tomorrow too, for all we know. I think it's just less likely with Cosmic Eclipse, so that's why I lean that way. As far as like opening experience of the sets, I think Cosmic Eclipse is probably like a better opening experience for most people. That one person that hits the Moonbryon, they're happy, they're top of the world, they're Quaza Altart too. But overall, like you probably get like a better opening experience on average for the median consumer buying an equal dollar amount in Cosmic Eclipse packs. But yeah, I'm gonna run. I'm gonna let Nick answer that question. I'll keep my camera on so you can see my background.
Way to steal my answer, Dan. Way to steal it. So I'll just repeat what you said for the next 10 minutes. No, I would say the same as Dan with that one. I would rather the Cosmic Eclipse packs over Evolving Skies. And obviously the reprint is a possibility, whereas with Evolving Skies, whereas with Cosmic Eclipse, it's really most likely not going to happen. And aside from those cards, outside of a few of them, obviously you have like the Umbreon V, the Dragonite, and all of those ones as well, which look really good. But aside from those few cards, you really don't have very much in Evolving Skies. There's a lot of people who would pull just absolute dud packs and get nothing. But with Cosmic Eclipse, you have it's a really good set. I truly like Cosmic Eclipse. There's a lot of good cards that you can pull from Cosmic Eclipse. So even if you don't pull those chase cards, you're still gonna have fun opening this. So I think long term, I would go with the Cosmic Eclipse over Evolving Skies. As both an investing, if that's what you want to do, and like the flipping mode. So that's what I would do with that one. Flip2Flip says no sound. that would be terrible. Ray, I completely disagree with you. Remember when Cosmic Eclipse was printed to oblivion and terrible? Cosmic Eclipse was never a terrible. I truly always enjoyed Cosmic. I was actually really happy when we got the reprint in. When did we got that reprint with the Arceus figure collection boxes? I was really happy to see Cosmic Eclipse packs in those boxes. I did actually open a few packs for myself. Didn't pull anything good, but it was fun to see those packs again. That was a surprising time for sure. Let's see what else we got going on here.
My Bluetooth disconnected, so I didn't hear everything, but I heard most of it, I think.
Damn it. Did I actually lose sound? I thought they were joking.
Oh, did you? No way.
Flip said I lost sound. I figured he was joking.
I think
he was actually serious.
I think he was busting your chops because what I did the one time, I only had the one earbud in, and I went and my other earbud was in the case. So when it disconnected, it changed the settings. But now I know I keep the second earbud out so that if I leave, it doesn't disconnect and ruin everything. Bro strats.
Okay. So I did lose sound for a second, but
I don't think you would have. Oh wait, he says Ernesto's saying still no sound. He's just. I think they're just messing with you now. Yeah. Your mic to me still has been a little bit choppy from time to time. There's times where I miss a word or two. I don't know if it was just that, but anyways, we're back. I did see a comment from Squeaks. I got to throw up on screen and address. Where'd it go?
interesting.
Squeaks Game World says, guy wants to tell me Domino's is bad, but then sings the praises of Walmart Butcher Shop. Okay. I will say, I was the guy defending Domino's. I said as far as pizza, there's a lot better pizza. But this is back to the whole vintage versus modern, fast food pizza versus real pizza. We don't need to get into that. But yeah, if I had a Domino's pizza for dinner tonight, well, not since I'm smoking meats, I'd rather have that. But that's it's good food. It's good food. There's a lot better food out there, but it's still good. I mean, a meal of that's fine. I think everyone else was against you more, Squeak. So I'm on your side. Don't be trashing my Walmart Butcher. I usually send it in the paywall, but I do from time to time throw a picture. I did a big fat ribeye that I got from that was from Costco actually. Costco has good meats too. The last time I went to Costco, they had this I like super thick cut because I like my steak like medium rare towards rare. So you got to cook it, get a really good thick crust on it. You got to cook it real hot and fast. A thin steak to get a good crust. By the time you get a good crust on both sides, you're well done in the middle. So it's got to be like a thick steak. Man, this ribeye last night was amazing. 2.5, 3-inch thick cut probably. Ribeye's my favorite cut. That was Costco though. That one wasn't Walmart. Pretty much the same thing. I mean, they're both I guess Costco would be a tier above, but whatever. I'm getting hungry now. We're talking about a lot of. At least I say we, but it's me. It's me talking about a lot of food.
Yeah, I didn't have lunch today. So can we quit the food talk?
I actually had the ribeye was so big that I had a little bit of that left over for lunch, with some mushrooms and onions, smothering a steak. That's the way to go. That's the way to live life.
There we go.
Ray says one of the few places you can get prime beef, Costco, and also Walmart. I'm telling you, maybe it's not every Walmart, maybe it's just the ones in the woods or in the farmland. But my Walmart is the only place within 30 minutes. Only place within an hour probably, because Costco's a little over an hour. They're the only place that will always have prime in stock. There's probably not a single question in chat. It's probably all just meat conversation.
A lot of food talk.
Hermit Man 1 says, let's talk smoking, DIY rubber. No. Yeah, I don't pay a premium on someone mixing spices that I can do myself. And it's a fun experimentation too. Buy all the raw ingredients. I buy them in the tall boys, those big 1 pound, 16 ounce, 1 pound, whatever I guess depending on the spice, some of them it's significantly less weight. But I make my own rubs and I experiment and I'll do a couple things side by side, try them both. I do my own sauces too. I don't buy barbecue sauce. I make my own.
Homemade barbecue sauce is a lot better than buying it at the store.
Ray says, Dan, what do you think about my meat? Ray has some great meat. Every so often you'll get some pics of Ray's meat in the other channel in Pokenomics. We do have a channel where sometimes we're sharing pics of dinner. Pics of meals.
I'm glad you didn't say pics of our meat.
Yeah. Yeah, the other channel kind of gets like themes going. Sometimes the other channel is like the dog channel for a couple weeks. People will just post pictures of their pets, their dogs, cats, whatever. And then sometimes it's just like, what are you grilling today? And sometimes it's dead for a couple weeks at a time too. Oh, let's see. Ray remembers when Cosmic Eclipse was printed to oblivion and terrible. Yeah, people don't want what's staring them in the face for sub MSRP. They want it when it's expensive and they can't have it.
I already yelled at Ray for that comment. Terrible.
J Pokemart UK says, for your personal collections, do you guys prefer raw cards and binders or graded cards? I prefer my binders for myself and only use grading to sell cards personally. I am never going to sell my childhood binder. So other than my childhood binder, I don't think I'm going to do binders anymore. I've rated my personal binders, what I thought were my personal collection binders so many times. With all that's going on with Sun and Moon Altars, I know I have some in my binder. I know I have some that I pulled in my binder. I know I had some that I bought near mint for super cheap when they came out. I need to raid my binder again to grade them and sell them because I'm a monster and this market is insane. So once I disassemble my binder, I'm never putting another card in any of those masters, or not master set, but complete set English collection binders again. I just, from time to time, when I see a card I like, I'll grade 100 of them, I'll sell 99, and I'll PC the one copy. I'll PC the PSA 10 Dan, I'll PC the PSA 10 Grill Greaser Pete, but I do like graded cards. I like the product, but if and when the market likes it more than me, it'll get sold and moved on from. That's the nice thing about grading them too. Keep one copy graded. If all of them go nuts, just sell the one I have and collect something else. There's always something else.
Yeah, back when I did have the all the WotC sets. I liked having them in binders more than graded copies. I always think it's a lot easier and look through all the cards having them in binders and having great stacks of graded cards. But now my collection is mainly sealed product with my booster boxes, theme decks, and then graded no damage Ninetales. That's about it.
Ernesto said if Dan doesn't come back with a chicken wing in hand and barbecue on the beard, I'm gonna call Cap. I have a brisket on there and I have some pork belly on there, so no chicken wings. But I don't have any chicken wings thawed. I should have thawed some to just throw some on at the end. But I don't have like a proper smoker anymore. I used to actually use like my dad has built multiple smokers over the years. The one I had been using most recently at my house was like 20 something years old. It was getting pretty soft on the bottom, pretty rotted. So we took it back for repairs and then we've never yet repaired it. I think we might just build a new one at some point. As of right now, all I'm using is my Weber grill with one of those. It's like a stainless steel box that you put wood pellets into. It doesn't get nearly the smoke flavor into the meat as like just smoking with hickory wood. Hickory is what I almost always use, but yeah, it gets a little bit of smoke flavor in there. Delicious, tasty meat. At the end of the day, gonna do some pork belly burnt ends, some brisket sandwiches. Looking forward to dinner tonight.
Man, I'll start driving over now.
Yeah. I just jumped to the bottom. Let me catch up. Ray doubling down on what Squeak said. Squeak says dead on. Walmart's butcher shop can F all the way off. I'm sure it's just like anywhere else. It's like if you have a bad manager of the butcher section at your local Walmart, there are probably some terrible ones. There are probably some better ones. At the end of the day, I'm sure it's. I'm not saying my Walmart is the best butcher in the entire country. I'm just saying it's literally my best option. until I drive to Costco, which is a little over an hour away. So that's where I go. There's one like 45 minutes away in the opposite direction. I never go that way for anything. But I used to live closer to that one. It was like 20 minutes away then. That was a solid butcher, but I just can't justify driving that far. If I'm going to, I guess I'll just go to Costco and stock up on a bunch of stuff. Ernesto said, if I cracked a PSA 8 and the raw card is really a 6, how do I put it back in there?
With super glue.
Yeah. How do you reseal a slab? Good luck. Just grade it and it might be a 10. I mean, I've seen 10s that are 6s, so good luck.
Oh.
There we go. Mr. Walrus, the live chat MVP is on my side. Walmart is getting the same meat as everyone else. Y'all dust if you think Walmart gets shit cows. USDA Prime. I mean, they're being. I've been in the facilities where cows become steaks, where cows become burger, and yeah, they ship out. I mean, my family knows the people who are used to know the people who they sell to everywhere. They sell to Walmarts, they sell to the local butchers, they sell to, yeah, at the end of the day, it's all the same stuff, largely. Walmart meat tastes extra sad.
I would never want to see that process. I'm good.
Your average player shouting out Kobe beef in Japan is a must try if you're going to Worlds. Very, very expensive.
Unfortunately not.
Yeah, I won't be there. Hermit Man 1 says, if you randomly found a booster pack with market price of $300, would you open it, keep it sealed, or sell it? If it was known to be like heavy, 100%, like I'm thinking of like a Jungle Unlimited, if it was 21.7 grams and I knew it was going to be heavy, I would confidently sell it as a heavy money back guarantee and let somebody else take the L on the PSA 8 off-center silvered edge Wigglytuff. If it was like an in-between weight and I didn't know what to do with it, I couldn't really sell it as... If I was worried it might be resealed or something like that, I would probably bring it to an event and just YOLO open it and then get the PSA 8 Wigglytuff or Venomoth myself. What about you?
It depends on what it was. If it was a light pack, then yeah, sell it. If it's a heavy pack and it's a good set, like if it's not base set 2, then I probably would open it.
AP Sports Card with a good point too. Your butcher's sirloin isn't beating Walmart's ribeye. Facts. Squeaks Game World says, question, how much money earned post taxes per year would be your dream realistic goal for your business? I like this question. It's a good question. I will say, when I quit my job, I had like in mind a floor. Like it was a pay, well, it would have been a pay cut, but I told myself, if I can't make at least 50 or 60K a year, I won't do this. I won't continue to do this. That's kind of like I'm going to walk away and find something else to do if I get to a point where I can't do that. That said, the year that I quit last year, I'm smashing that right now because the market is just absurd. But like a dream, if I could just for the next 20 years, if I could do every year 6 figures, like 100K per year, that is like dream scenario. That is like insane to me. That is, and honestly, if the market doesn't fundamentally change for the worse, I think that will, it is happening now. It will continue to happen if things go the way they're going. I don't really think they will. I think something will happen in the market. I don't know what, I don't know when, I don't know how, but I think something will change to where that will be difficult to maintain. So for me, it's 6 figures. It's 100K a year. Post taxes, yeah. That's a big number. Post taxes, I guess I'm thinking more pre taxes. So maybe like 70 to 80 post taxes.
Yeah, I was gonna say the minimum for me was similar. 50 was definitely a pay cut. But that's a good salary to be making, and especially where I really enjoy this. I figured that was fine. So that was always my goal. Ideally would probably be around like 80. That would be my ideal realistic goal.
Mr. Walrus says, y'all, for some high numbers, for me it's like $380, and that's to pay for a CAC table.
Oh,
and I see some people talking about numbers.
Can't live on Skid Row in Cali.
Obviously, like, one thing that's great about this job can happen from anywhere. Like, maybe if you live down the street from your distributor, if you live down the street from like some major player in the hobby, you might have some advantage. But geographically, every town, every house, they have a post office. I guess if you're in some crazy area in Alaska or a crazy area in the Midwest, you might have like a 2-hour drive to your closest post office. But most areas, you're within 20 minutes of a post office, if not 5 minutes of a post office. So this job can travel. You can do this from anywhere, just about. So thankfully, I mean, I just, through no like doing of my own, I just happen to be born in an area that I generally enjoy where I live. And all my family's around here, and the cost of living isn't insane. New York is a very high cost of living state, but where I am in New York is much more like the South or Midwest in a lot of ways. Not sales tax, not things like that, but in a lot of cost of living type stuff. So, yeah, if you're trying to live the LA lifestyle and do this full time, you hear us saying numbers like 50, 80. You're like, what's that? What are you talking about? I can't even buy my studio apartment for that. That's that's due to partially where we live and just our lifestyles and all of that stuff, which are always a big consideration for what you need and what you do. But it is interesting when you think about it, and when you look at like where, I'm not going to call out a million names on where everyone lives, but a lot of the bigger players in this live in not like New York City or Miami or Los Angeles, or a lot of people live like kind of semi out in the woods, kind of in lower cost of living areas, and it's all online, so I can sell just as easily. Whereas if you're doing brick and mortar where you are, like, you need to be in an area where you have consumers, right? Thankfully, all my consumers can just click away from their phone or their desktop. Ernesto says Squeak's Game World, as long as it's more than you. So Ernesto's number is $1 higher than Squeak's number. As long as I'm making $1 more than Squeak's. No, if and when I ever start getting down to where I'm like cutting it close, I'll definitely look to branch out. Maybe this would become more of a side hustle alongside whatever I find is my new main gig. But as of right now, I'm pretty bullish on my ability to hit my like super happy number for the next few years at least, if not more than that. I don't know if it's Kareem Taylor. At Dan, in regard to the TCG player video you just made, I buy collections of similar cards at 65 to 80% market. Any tips on moving the ungradable raws? The margins are so small even when buying at 65%. Yeah, having an outlet is a big part of doing those plays. It's a tedious process when you are selling to break even or slightly lose, and it's using up some of your limited manpower. That's an issue. You need to find a good relationship where you can just bulk them out to people. You need to find a more passive platform to not tie up as much of your time. I've mentioned it a million times, but Troll and Toad Evo, I still have for a few more months. I can send them cards. After September, I cannot send them new cards. After February, it's over with. So I'm kind of gonna utilize that do like one last hurrah with that program, with that system while I have it. But other than that, you just gotta find a contact, or you gotta do it on eBay or TCGplayer yourself. And yeah, everyone's time is limited, so you just gotta optimize it.
Another avenue would be if you're going to Collecticon, just save them for Collecticon. Like the alt art collection, I bought an alt art collection and I sold it just a couple weeks too early, but I still did well on it. But I paid 80% on that collection, and there were a few gradable cards, but for the most year mid edition. So really couldn't grade many of them. I couldn't sell them on eBay or TCGplayer because after all the fees, that would have been great. So fortunately I bought it at a time just a few weeks before Dallas Collecticon, and so I bought it with the expectation that these cards would be sold at Collecticon, and luckily I sold them all in Dallas. Awesome. But yeah, if you're doing any local shows, do really well.
I actually listened to the Slab podcast this morning, and it was interesting to hear very at the last few minutes of it, Professor Oak's background on like having been a chef at some different places. And I don't know if you've listened to that yet, or if anyone else has.
Did,
but
yeah.
Tying into Mr. Walrus's question, he wants to know what was the last thing you cooked. Macaroni and cheese or ramen?
No, I actually do really like cooking, but cooking for myself is terrible. So like when I'm home alone, I go out way too often. But if someone's at home with me, I do actually mainly like stuff on the grill, burgers, steak, chicken, stuff like that. And then yeah, mainly like grill stuff. And then occasionally lasagna, spaghetti, stuff like that.
Yeah, I do more of the cooking in our household. My wife does cook some. She cooks well when she cooks. She just doesn't. I love eating. I like cooking, but I love eating. And the whole time I'm cooking, I'm just thinking about how delicious it's gonna be. So I do. Again, when we were talking about food pyramids, Kai's little joking question in the premiere, my food pyramid is meat at the base. Meat forms the foundation of every meal. The three things you have to hit in every meal: meat, bread, and cheese. Somehow they need to be in every meal. That's the way I cook.
Oh man! Funny enough, I actually used to work in the kitchen at a Marriott in my town. That was my first job in high school.
Nice.
It was actually a fun job. I enjoyed that because it wasn't like as busy as like a restaurant, but it was still you got to like have that experience. It was a good time. We had a lot of fun there.
Mr. Walrus says, when you're not the breadwinner, household duties are on you. Good to see Dan breaking gender roles. Oh, that's funny. I do the manly man job of mowing the lawn though. That's all me. So I do food and dishes primarily, and then I do everything outside the house, everything that keeps the house structurally sound. The wife does most of the cleaning and tidying. She does a lot more of the kid stuff than I do. But yeah, that's breakdown of chores. If and when you're married or thinking about getting married or dating and living together, breaking down how the household chores are done is a common point of contention, I think, between couples. And not to get like relationship type advice, but having all that stuff sorted out so that people aren't harboring animosity towards each other. I think my wife and I are in a pretty good spot on all that. We've honed in on the ideal balance over the years. Maybe that's just me saying it. Maybe my wife is completely pissed off at certain things, but I don't think so.
She's about to come storming down the stairs and give us the truth.
Yeah. Flip to Flip wants to know, what's the demand on PSA staff cards? Is it huge in the events? Is it huge in the events? Do guys? Some kind of a typo in there that I can't suss out. Is it like super liquid? Staff cards are relatively niche compared to just the regular set card. Like The last staff set that I went heavily into was Vivid Voltage. It was like a banger set. I bought tons of the sealed staff packs because I just loved. You had Charizard, Lugia, Snorlax, which are 3 of like top tier, A tier, S tier Pokemon in my opinion. So those were more liquid because they were more liquid Pokemon. But if you take staff cards in general, there's a lot of like not great cards, not great species liquidity wise. Then you throw that staff stamp on there. Now you've just tried to increase the price. You've just gotten like super niche down. Generally speaking, overall, I would say they're quite illiquid actually. Liquidity goes up when you put it on a more liquid species, obviously. But there's plays there. There's ones that do well over time, but you're really down in the niches compared to something more like just a Moonbreon or a base set Charizard.
Yeah, I never got into the staff cards. Wish I had with Vivid Voltage and Evolution. I never did get into any.
Metasand wants to know what would make you FOMO for missing worlds, if you want to start that one.
Like everything, when I don't go to Collecticon, seeing the Instagram stories of everyone, that always gets to me and makes me wish I was there. But
I think the way he's asking it, like the way I'm taking it, at least, what news would come out today that would make you go FOMO and start looking at hotels and buying a plane ticket? Like, is there any signing? Is there any, is there any person going there? Is there any event they could tie into Worlds that would just be like, okay, screw everything else, I'm going to Worlds? That's the way I interpret it, at least.
Okay, yeah, no, there wouldn't be anything unless some like absurd thing that happened. The guy with the PSA 10 no damage 9-tail. And then I would go, yes. But aside from something absurd like that, I can't justify it because Japan is. I hate flying. I don't mind like flying, but sitting there for so long is miserable. So that plane ride would be brutal. And then it being so far away, it can't just be a weekend trip like Collecticon is. It would have to be like a 10 to 14 day thing at a minimum. And taking that much time is really tough. I always take one vacation a year, which that's happening in mid-July, so that's kind of close to Worlds. And just taking that 1 week off a year is tough enough. And then taking a few days off for Collecticon is tough. So taking 2 weeks off is really tough. It would not happen. Too expensive and too far.
Yeah, I'm pretty similar. There's really no like signings wouldn't draw me there. There's no like plausible event happening that would get me to consider buying tickets and actually booking. If it was all expenses paid, honestly, I would not go. If somebody was like, it would have to be all expenses paid and then paid a lot of money, which isn't going to happen. I'm not that kind of guy that Pokemon's not going to reach out to me. Nobody's going to reach out to me and offer to pay for my $10,000 trip with $10,000 cash on top of it, like it would take to get it done. Because I'm a 6'4" dude, 250 pounds. That is not a comfortable flight. That 16 hours, 20. I don't know how many hours it would be, but it would be way too many. And then on top of the fact, like, it's got to be a week. You got to do a full week. I don't want to do that away from the family. My wife would stress so much. I would stress a decent amount taking the kids, and there's just like no reasonable angle that I will ever end up there. But yeah, it's not going to happen.
I hope they bring it back to the US for next year.
Yeah, what they normally do, for anyone who doesn't know, on the final day of Worlds, at like the closing ceremonies or whatever, sometime around then, they announce the next location. Because I remember being at Nashville, and they announced DC, and it was like, awesome, East Coast, pretty close, like I'll probably go. And then at DC, I remember when they announced London, so many people erupted, so many people, because a lot of international people. Finally, it's coming out of the US. A lot of UK people happy it was going to be really local. UK, I wasn't there in person, but I remember seeing online when it was announced that it was going to be Japan. It's like, man, we missed 2 years for the pandemic. Now I'm missing 2 years for International Worlds. I really want to get back around to where I go to Worlds as one of my annual events. But we'll see what happens. Canada, maybe. Like, if it's Canada, I would probably go. Anywhere in Europe, anywhere in the world, like not in North America, I can't see myself going. Like maybe they're doing a world tour. Maybe they'll do like Rio de Janeiro, or maybe they'll do something like big South American country. I don't see myself going anywhere but US or Canada, maybe, personally. Ernesto says, why do you answer serious questions? Parentheses, serious question. We answer, I don't answer every question. So there is a little bit of like moderation in what I answer, but I put this one on the screen so you can clearly tell I answer most. Gengar's Den wants to know, vinegar, tomato, or mustard-based barbecue sauce, spicy or not. I generally am a biggest fan of like the Kansas City style. Think like if you want to go with like a mainstream, Bullseye is one of my favorite, just like mainstream. Sweet Baby Ray's is another one. Just their traditional, like a thick, sweet, like Kansas City style, they call it, barbecue sauce. So that's what my homemade one is anchored around primarily. And then I think they call it Carolina style, like a vinegar based. I do have a pretty decent Carolina style that I make, apple cider vinegar based. Those are less universal though. I think those go better on certain items, whereas the Kansas City style, the thick brown Kansas City style sauces, they can go on anything. You can put those on anything, or at least I can.
Yeah, I don't like vinegar based.
Most people in my family don't either.
Maybe I just haven't tried yours. Maybe you'll change my mind.
I'll have to, next time you're around, I'll have to make sure I have some whipped up so that you can try it out. But generally speaking, I think more people that I cook for, more friends and family that come over to the cookouts that I do, they like the other one. So I make that by the gallon. I make a gallon of that. I make the other one like by the quart, and that one lasts longer too. Brandon Haller says, popping in to say if y'all are on Discord, Nick just needs to lower his voice sensitivity and he won't cut out anymore. I think sometimes you're getting cut. I think you're getting cut by either your mic settings, or you might be getting cut by my OBS settings too. I don't really know. No, it can't be OBS settings because I would hear you and stream wouldn't.
Oh, okay. Because I did try lowering it on Discord. I don't know if that worked.
I'm not great at audio or video settings, clearly, so appreciate you, Brandon, trying to help. I don't know if we know enough to do anything with that information, but we appreciate it. Ray says he uses
You really need to spell it out for us.
Ray uses a Traeger, definitely not as much smoker flavor with a pellet grill. Yeah, nowhere near as much, and I'm not even using a pellet smoker. I'm using literally just a gas grill. I have one burner on with the pellets over it. It's not optimal by any means, but it still gets a little smoke flavor in there. Lord Pokesmoke uses a terrible $10 mini grill in the alley in Chicago. Tastes fantastic. Retro says, what are you holding for the 30th anniversary? No cap answers, please. Literally nothing. There is nothing that I am intentionally holding back for like 3 or 4 years. 3 years from now, I guess it would be. That's so distant in the future. I hope to turn over most of my inventory multiple times between now and then. So there's honestly like nothing I'm intentionally setting back specifically for the sole purpose of 30th anniversary. I have a hard time wrapping my mind around the 30th anniversary like booming from where we're at today. I've talked about it many times in many different videos. When's the next boom coming? When's the next boom coming? We're still in it. This is still the 2020 boom. It bubbled and it boomed in WotC, and then the bubble/boom just shifted around. We are still booming. We're printing 9.7 billion one cards. We're booming. Maybe we boom from here, and that'd be great. But I'm not going to have intentionally withheld any inventory for that reason, personally.
Yeah, I always hate these people on Facebook. One of the whole talk about oh, Pokemon's going to explode. We just need to wait for the 30th anniversary, or we just need to wait for the next celebrity to come in and all that stuff. Yeah, I think it's better to just do business as normal. Sell stuff as you get stuff. Turn that inventory, make money, roll it into the next collection, continue have that snowball effect. Than to really hold on to anything.
You say booyah with a little story about eBay seller protection is going to come in clutch. A buyer tried to scam him on a 2.5K purchase. Must have been a known scammer, and they deleted their account and said I shouldn't lose the case. So shout out to bad buyers. Give them their unpaid item strikes. Report them to eBay. This guy probably has a history because there were good sellers that like stood strong against him. Make sure bad buyers get their negative marks against them so that if and when they try to go big scamming someone, they get shot down by eBay, because seller protection does exist. It's not as strong as buyer protection in most cases, but thankfully this must have been like a collection. This must have been a binder or something like that. Because if it was a single graded card, I think eBay authenticity guarantee would have you. Or even if it was a single raw card, but it was probably more of like a box or a collection, so those would not be applicable. Leaf Green Goblin says, how much is a sonic welder? Low hundreds to high millions, probably. I mean, I used to work at a company where we sonically welded different cases, different packaging shut, and low thousands for some. You can buy ones for graded cards, and a lot of the mom and pop like basement grading companies, a lot of them bought it off like Alibaba for like $2 or $3 grand. They're pretty accessible. Pokey Martin says oh yeah, they're super cheap. Pokey Martin says name one product you each own that's worth less than what you paid for it. Definitely some MetaZoo stuff. Definitely most non-native MetaZoo booster boxes that I own. The Kickstarter one I own is still quite a ways up from where I bought it, but yeah, I bought some Nightfall around 200. Thankfully not a lot, but definitely some MetaZoo boxes. In Pokemon, I generally buy like wholesale. I buy way like low percents of market on high dollar value items. So I don't buy like too many onesie twosies as investments that would be subject to like going down substantially. What about you?
I would assume my CGC Squirtle. I can't see someone paying more than I paid for it. Hopefully that person's out there for when I want to. And then the PSA 9 no damage 9 tails that I bought. It was shortly after the peak. I want to say it was like December, January 2020, 2021, somewhere in that time frame. I paid, I want to say it was like, I think it was right at 9,000. And I just recently picked one up 6,000. So that didn't feel very good.
We have 20 minutes to go and we're 20 minutes behind on chat, so I'm going to try to churn through some of these pretty quick. Clint McAllister says, do you think in most cases gross sales will have to be well over 1 million per year to realistically make that 100K after taxes? So what you're looking at is like, do I think that the average net margin is 15%? Because to make 100K after taxes, you probably have to make close to 100K, depending on your spouses, depending on a lot of other scenarios. But it's so hard to say. Like my own personal picture is some part capital gains, essentially long-term capital gains being realized from things that I had a long time ago that still boomed from the bubble, from the bubble boom, whatever you want to call it. I don't really know what the industry average margin would be, and it's hard to even say industry average because there are some people doing modern sealed only where your margin is way less than 10% normally. In 2020, there were parts of it where your margin was 100% for short bits there, but I think most generally speaking, you would probably have to grow 7 figures to net 100K after taxes, but there are definitely many ways to be sub 1 mil in annual sales and be netting greater than 100K.
Yeah, I would think generally it would have to be around that $1 million mark. But then obviously there's those weird circumstances where has a whole bunch from pre-boom and sells it after the boom and can do it a lot quicker. If you get really lucky with like a trophy card, you can do it that way. But I think for most people that's a safe number to shoot for.
Yeah, and I think I saw something in the live chat from Squeaks. He says, absolutely not, but you'd have to specialize more or do something unique. Yeah, there are definitely high margin plays out there. There are definitely people netting more than like 30%. So there are probably people making 150K a year on like 500K in sales. That's not me. Some amount of what I do is, again, long-term capital gains. Some amount is flips. But there's a lot of like, and my business is going to fundamentally change in some ways moving ahead. The whole Troll and Toad Evo, that was the way I moved a lot of like high dollar value, low percent margin stuff. I mean, I was paying high fees to get it sold because it was at break even and it just didn't really matter. But yeah, some parts of my business are going to fundamentally change moving ahead. So constantly in flux, constantly in flux. Brandon says, do y'all think they will ever have a Collecticon in DC? Nick might have. I guess if you want to go first. I mean, you've talked more directly with the owners themselves.
I hope they branch out to more East Coast, New England area. We'll see what happens. I don't know if I want to mention anything else though.
Probably don't. It's a lot of times with these big cities, it's like a cost thing. I mean, stay tuned till the end of the year. I guess we'll hear generally at the end of the year they announce the next year's slate. So all I can say is last year, I mean, 2 years ago they started, I think, and they had like 4, and then they went to like 6, and now they're at like 8. They're on a trajectory, so we'll see where they go from there. But whether they go to New York City or Boston or DC or Chicago, those are massive cities, which a lot of times people will think like, why not go there? If they can sell out same day in Charlotte, if they can sell out same day in these smaller, cheaper cities, I don't know that it makes sense for them to increase their overhead that much to go into such a massive city, right? At the end of the day, it's a business decision by them, and I don't have those numbers in front of me, so it'll be interesting to follow along and just see where they end up going.
Yeah, I've wanted them to come to Boston for a long time, and they actually looked into it at one point, but they said it's way too expensive to justify. Yeah. I don't think we'll ever get a Boston one.
Walrus says, question, can you guys go back to your careers in a few years, or is there a learning curve to jump back in? My specific career, as far as at that company, it's not a super fast-paced moving, like there are certain technology sectors, there are certain technology companies, and there were segments of my company that had those more so, where if you're not quarterly reading the new publications, if you're not keeping up, kind of like even like medicine, if you're not keeping up with the new advancements in surgeries and new advancements in treatments on a quarterly basis at minimum, if not annual, like annually at minimum, quarterly would be better, you're falling way behind. My industry overall isn't as changing as a lot of them. I would probably still be marketable as a chemical engineer in 5 years, but that resume gap, or not really resume gap, but saying that I sold Pokemon cards for 5 years in between, I think that would hurt to some extent. And I knew that when I quit, I knew the risks. I knew the risk of long-term career earnings and things like that. But overall, like, if and when I didn't leave my company on bad terms, I had very specialized knowledge into very specific product lines. If 5 or 10 years from now they had those same product lines, and there's an avenue to get back in, but it would just be at like a big decrease to where I would have been if I had stayed. And I've said it before, I don't think I'll ever work for someone else again in my life. The freedom of being my own boss is just too great to ever have me trying to go back.
Yeah, luckily with my job, it would be fairly easy for me to get back to work. Probably within a month, I could be back working. And luckily with my thing, it's all unionized. So there's a little bit of variance, but for the most part, everywhere pays pretty much the same. And they're always looking for people, which is good. So if I wanted to, I could go back to work. Not much of a learning curve. The shipping industry is way behind the times. I know on most ships now are they don't use like paper charts anymore. But the ship that I was working on, we actually just converted to using exclusively digital. The last trip that I was on, and GPS has been around since like the 90s, and
you guys didn't have the little Garmin on the ship?
In the 70s. What was that?
You guys didn't have the little Garmin on the ship telling you where to turn left and turn right? And
we did have that, but we weren't like certified to exclusively use them. So we did have to carry all the paper charts and all that stuff.
Pokey Martin says, speaking of that, would you want to make enough money where your wife could retire, or would that be too much time with the wife? When I got my job, my original job 12 years ago, I never intended to work till I was 65. I've always been kind of a saver, and I've never really liked the idea of working for 40 years at one company doing mostly the same thing. A lot of people, some amount of people might be familiar with like the FIRE movement, financial independence, retire early. I've long followed a lot of podcasts and blogs and read a lot of books in that space. And that is a goal that I'm actively pursuing. If and when I get there, I'm not going to ever just retire to a golf course, never work again a day in my life. I'm never going to retire to a beach. But yeah, absolutely. Like, my wife loves teaching, but I think she also loves the prospect of not having to do it till she's 65 if she doesn't want to. So yeah, there are definitely things that could happen where I could kind of take my foot off the gas once I have that foundation laid, once I have that financial independence, once I have that passive 4% rule income that sustains our expenditures.
You don't think she would get sick of being?
Potentially. I mean, I think, I don't know what she would want to pursue exactly. Maybe she would want to pursue some amount of tutoring, kind of specialize and do it to a lesser extent than a full schedule, a full schedule, 40 hours a week, 9 months a year or whatever. But what about you? Are you just, once you hit that number, you're going to sell it all and then just retire to a beach, never do an eBay sale again in your life?
No, that'll never happen. That'll never happen for me. But it's like we were talking the other weekend. It would become more of a hobby of mine. I think I would still do it. I would dial this way back and focus more on like higher end cards. But I truly do enjoy this. I think I would continue to do this for as long as possible. it's like when I got back into it, I was working on the ship. I was making good money on the ship, so I didn't have to come back. But I worked on the ship for 4 months. I came home. I spent a few weeks hanging out doing nothing, and then quickly realized that nobody is around during the week. So it got to be very boring being at home doing nothing during the week. So that's why I got back into Pokemon is because I was just looking for something. So I think it would be similar. I think I'll always be doing something. I don't think it'll always be this constant grinding low end singles, but it'll definitely always be something to keep me busy.
Lord Pokesmoke, a question kind of in the same vicinity. If you were going to buy a vacation home, where would it be? I personally am not a huge fan of vacation homes. I mean, houses are very expensive to maintain and upkeep. Instead of locking that money into a vacation home, I would rather just travel with it and see more different places. Like there was a couple year period, I guess there were couple year periods where my parents had a camp on a lake, or they had like an RV set up in a campground area up north in the Adirondacks. And it's great. Like if you find a great place that you can go and visit over and over and over and have a good time every time, that's great. But I would rather just spend all that money, spend all that time seeing new and different places more often. Like I know friends and family who have camps and places that I can visit from time to time if I want to. So I have access to some amount of like vacation homes. It's like having a pool or having a boat. We had a boat when I was growing up. Boats are great when you have a friend. Hey, I'll buy the beer. Hey, I'll buy the bait. Let's go fishing. Being the one having it though is just a lot more expense and being physically tied to it. You almost feel an obligation to some extent. Like my grandparents have a camp up in the Adirondacks. Every summer, they're always like stressing birthday parties and graduation parties and weddings. They worry about how many times they need to go to their vacation home to make it like make sense. And they almost feel like stress around vacation, which is just a weird spot to be in. And I don't ever want to feel like tied to that. So I guess my answer would be that I wouldn't buy a vacation home. Maybe 10 years from now, my answer will change and I'll have one somewhere. But like, maybe an RV, drive it around to cool places, stay at campgrounds. I'm honestly leaning towards that, having an RV later in life at some point.
Yeah, I'm the same way as you. I don't think I ever would buy a vacation home. I would want and use that money to buy a sport fishing boat. I love being on the ocean. So I would definitely do that as opposed to getting a vacation home. That way you could travel, go to different spots, and depending upon how luxurious, I can get a bigger boat to go to further away places. So that's definitely the road I would take.
My parents actually had it was a 27-foot Sea Ray, if I remember correctly. But that's not like a yacht by any means, but it's a pretty big boat. It had a cuddy, I believe it's called. It had like a cabin below where you could sleep. I think it could sleep like 4 people because my family went up there. They had that in Alex Bay in New York. They had it in Alex Bay in New York for one season, a couple seasons maybe. That was cool because you could go down through the canal system. You could go to different marinas. You could almost like kind of like an RV but on water. So I see myself having more of something like that instead of a vacation home. And the amount of money that I would have for the upkeep, for the purchase, for the down payment, for the monthly mortgage, whatever, however I did it, I would rather just put that into traveling more broadly and generally.
Mm-hmm.
We're running out of time. We've got like 5 minutes left. We're 30 minutes behind. So sorry if I skip your question. There's some semi-mean ones and there's some super quick ones. Walrus says, thought Den was dusted that we're still in a boom, but man, I've sold some questionable things recently. I don't know how people could see what's going on today and not think we're in a boom. I think most people understand it and agree, but some seem not to. I don't know.
I completely. Oh, you can keep going.
That was just a comment that I was highlighting as I was looking for a question.
Oh, okay.
Your average player says, elaborating on Shiz's hot take on the podcast, the Slab podcast, how useful do you think college education will be in the future? I think you just need to go into it with like some amount of sanity and some amount of calculation. I graduated with so many people from my high school that just went to $50,000 a year colleges, fully out of pocket, fully loans, to go for like liberal arts degrees and things like that, where they had no idea what their prospects of salaries would be. And that's nothing against any major. Like, do what you love and learn more, expand your knowledge. It's all great. Like, college fundamentally is great, but at the end of the day, it's still a math problem. If you're spending $200,000 to potentially make $40,000 a year, you got to run the numbers. You got to do a little bit of an EV calculation, and you don't have all the answers. Like, you can't do the perfect math problem because there's a couple more unknowns than you can solve for. But yeah, I think done properly, done prudently, going to a place that's reasonably affordable, there's merit to it, but it's just got to be done correctly. Like anything else in life, like buying a house, like buying a car, you can go way overboard and you can spend way too much and you can destroy yourself with student loans. And a lot of people did.
I think there's definitely merit to going to college. I think for certain degrees it's definitely important, and you need that higher education. But on the flip side, I do think way out of control, to the point where if you don't go to college, you're at such a disadvantage to people who went to college, which isn't fair. I don't agree with that. I don't think everyone needs to be going to college. But it's you really are at a disadvantage if you don't have a bachelor's degree anymore.
And I have 2 degrees, and I'm using neither. I have a bachelor's degree and I have a master's degree. I got my master's degree. I graduated from that in 2020, and then a little over a year later, I quit. I owed my company some money because I left too early. The way they do that, they like pay for your education, and then if you leave too early and they don't get their ROI on that education, then they make you pay them back. So I had to pay some amount back. Ernesto changed the eBay cha-ching noise to a screeching scream from a horror movie. I love it. I don't know. Like, sometimes when we're talking in Discord, sometimes when we're talking in here, I hear people's cha-chings go off. I disabled that so long ago. Like, that's just annoying to me. And I don't even sell anywhere near as much as you do. I don't know how people leave that on. Kind of like Discord notifications. I have my phone set to vibrate. I have my desktop set to mute everything. It pops up and I get to it when I get to it, but like my phone will vibrate. Do not disturb hours. My phone doesn't do anything. Those kind of notification sounds just annoy me. even when it means I'm making money. The cha-ching is the best one, but it's still not good. I still don't like it.
Oh, I love it. I'll never get sick of it. Sunday nights I do have to turn it off because leaving it on for all the auctions ending.
Melt your phone.
An hour of auctions ending is rough. But no, I love it. I'll never mute that one. A lot of the other stuff is muted. It's mainly Instagram and eBay that I get notifications for.
Eddie says, Dan, if your son told you I want to sell cards instead of going to college, what would you say to him? I would say to him, let's see what you got. Here's X amount of capital. What's your strategy? Like, you see what I do. Here's all my numbers. He would have the benefit of seeing full transparency. I give a lot of transparency on my YouTube, but my son, my daughter, either of them, full transparency. This is the family business. If you want in, like, let's get your hands dirty. Let's figure out what we got going on here. See how you make out. And yeah, I mean, if they know what they're doing and if they're successful and it feels like they're passionate and enjoy it, I'm cool with them doing whatever they want to do. So it would all depend on the context around it. If they never had any interest in it their whole lives, and then they turn 18 and they decide like, oh, screw college, I'm going to do this. It's a little too late for that. Like you missed the last 15 years that you could have been like helping me, seeing what's going on and learning about it. So yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna say quickly, it is 4:30. I'm gonna try to grab one or two more quick ones, but we are gonna wrap up soon. I got some meet I gotta go attend to. Professor Birch, and you can start with this one. Do you guys have any hobbies that you have never pursued but may consider doing as you get older?
Hobbies that I've never pursued, huh? They're I don't know about never pursued. There's definitely stuff that I want to pursue more. Golfing, mountain biking are two big ones. But yeah, as far as stuff I've never pursued, not that I could think of.
You don't know yet. Someday you'll find something and then you'll pursue it. But
Something will come up one day.
yeah, I think I'm in a pretty similar boat. I think everything that I thought looked intriguing, looked interesting, I gave it a shot, and I'm either still doing it or I'm not doing it by choice, and maybe someday I'll get back to it. Lord PokeSmokes.
What about your food truck? That's something you've never done.
I mean, I'm obviously not doing the food truck part of it. I'm not doing the food truck part of it, but I'm doing making the food part of it. Like I'm honing my skills. I'm
sure.
making my recipes. I'm practicing it. So cooking, the food is the hobby part of that. If I ever want to turn it into a business, we'll see. But Lord PokeSmokes has my GF about to graduate with hundreds of thousands in student loan debt. Grimace face. You did say GF. You didn't say wife, so you said GF. I mean, I'm not giving you any advice, but sounds like there's still an out there. But on a serious note, like I graduated with people that graduated, and I have friends who are graduating with $200,000-$300,000 in student loan debt, but they're going to be making $400,000 a year when they get out. I mean, if they're going to be a doctor or a lawyer, and they're going to earn to justify what they spent, that works into the EV calculation that I was talking about. I just know some amount of people that went to college to go to college. They went to a party school, or they didn't even go to a party school, but they went to a place to just make it a party school. They spent $200,000 of their future self's money, and they have a degree that they have no passion for, they have no care for, there's no good job prospects. They just, like those are the things I'm talking about. So hopefully your girlfriend has a degree that's marketable and she can make six figures, and we don't need to get into all that, but yeah. I think we're as caught up as we're going to be. There's definitely a couple that I skipped, and sorry again for that, but really appreciate everyone hanging out as we always do. Gem Mint Collectors, Gem Mint Collectors, right?
Mm-hmm.
I always get confused about there's so much overlap in some of the names. There's when you have the words gem mint and you have collector, like that's just like a fairly common name that kind of blends in. So I just wanted to make sure I had the right ending to that. But yeah, we will have other Nick, Gem Mint Collectors on in 2 weeks. We will announce ahead of time on Instagram. We will announce ahead of time by scheduling the live stream. But it should be June 15th at 8:30 p.m. Eastern. So look forward to that. Nick, if you want to shill your eBay lives upcoming, talk about anything else in closing.
No, thanks for hanging out, everyone. Really do appreciate it. I'm hoping to go live tomorrow, Friday night at, I think it's 8 or 9 p.m. and then Saturday night as well. Next week, Friday, for the Paldea of I will be going live on eBay for Friday night and Saturday night for the release. So be sure to check those out. Pop in if you can. If not, you're dead to me. Well, no, thanks for hanging out, everyone. Really do appreciate it.
Yep. Thanks, everyone. We will catch you all later.